Hi everyone, welcome to the 150th episode of Living La Vita Local Podcast, a retro gaming podcast for some of your retro gaming needs. My name is Faz.
And I'm really fucking confused. Like, what is this spreadsheet that I'm looking at?
I've brought chaos and ruin to this podcast.
And spreadsheets.
Yeah.
More spreadsheets.
Chaotic
Always with the spreadsheets.
So, let's introduce our guest first, shall we? Who walked in a little towards the end of the next podcast. So I like just messing with people's brains.
I need more sweets.
Yeah. We have a special guest with us to help celebrate our 150th. I was going to say anniversary. Yeah, yeah. It's too many fucking candles. So you've not been on since episode, I think 25, Kyle. I don't know what you've done to offend people, but so we welcome back one of our best friends, Kyle Taylor. Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
Kyle,
I'm a little concerned as to what I did to offend you.
Nothing at all. No.
Carl didn't turn up with a spreadsheet. That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
no. Well, we didn't. We went to the Leeds Gaming Market last weekend together. You're a video gamer.
That is true. So I can't have offended you that badly.
No, we enjoyed it. It was a good visit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all right actually.
I think I
was hoping for a little bit more dress up from people.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can't criticise. I didn't make any effort.
Were you dressed up like as in like just a normal human being looking quite nice? Like as in,
walking.
Yeah, I did. No, I did. That is better than the norm, I guess.
You weren't wearing like a fucking sack of potatoes or some shit. Like did pretty good. So we really enjoyed that day. Rich, we went a couple of years ago to the Leeds Gaming Market. It's significantly improved.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Good.
it was the same layout, but there was a lot less. A lot less smell, a lot more space between the stalls.
Oh, thank God! Right, but that's good.
There was quite a lot of cool stuff to look at, wasn't there,
Kyle? I was just really stunned by how much shit from my childhood is worth. I've not been to a gaming market in a really long time, and for someone to tell me that Pokemon Yellow unsealed is worth £575, I'm at that age where I'm at risk of heart attack, so that's...
That was boxed, though, wasn't it? It was boxed. Yeah.
It doesn't make it all right.
No. But I think that it just people pay for cardboard, don't they? Like, isn't
Yeah, that's true.
I've got a lot of it outside my house. They're welcome to it.
We met up with a lot of the friends of the podcast from Instagram, which was really nice. Nearly everybody that we met up with was for the first time. So thank you very much for meeting up. Everybody, you know who you are. I could give you a shout out, but I shout you out all the time anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, that was really fun. It was nice to kind of see what people were picking up and buying. There was a really cool review actually. Somebody that will shout out, Pixel Paul PXP on Instagram and YouTube, much more famous than we are. He did a really good video review of walking around the actual market so you can see what's on there, and he also did a review of what he picked up as well. So there's the usual fare. Like there wasn't there wasn't anything necessarily super, but gaming with JMO, he picked up a boxed Lilac Wars.
Nice.
How much do you think a boxed Lilac Wars is, or how much do you think?
Because that's a big cardboard box with a rumble pack in it.
Yes,
boxed.
That cardboard's worth at least £200.
I was going to say you're only asking because it would be really, really high or really, really low. So we'll go high.
Okay.
I don't know, £9,000.
He got it for £20.
Okay.
Yeah, he got a real bargain. So
nice.
on the next stall, someone was hawking it for £60. So
that's more what I would have expected.
Yeah.
Huh.
And Retronat90, he got a Dreamcast keyboard box that was pretty cool.
Nice.
I think that was only £20 maybe, and that looked like a really good nick as well. And it was, barely looked used. So there was some cool stuff kicking about. And then there was just a lot of other just PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like whole stalls of it and stuff. So I got a book and a coaster. So
Oh, hey, there you
go. And that's all we got between us, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Fun times though. Fun times. Anyway,
certainly because I couldn't justify spending that much money. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't play it. I would look at it and then I don't know. But maybe that's what I was supposed to. I was confused, Rich.
I think it's for the real collectors, isn't it? Like, as in people that might never play it but have it as a collector's item. So, right. So, what are we doing? Full stop.
Yeah. Why am I looking?
Why are you confused? Yeah, spreadsheet. So it is our 150th episode. We have got sweets. We have got IPA. We are here to do what we always have done.
Audit.
Yeah, and I think done pretty well over our podcast history. Have a spreadsheet and talk some inane shit about some retro video games and piss people off. Very much, I would think that might be what is about to happen.
Right.
So, what you have in front of you, gentlemen, is a big A3 spreadsheet. There are 3 consoles on here. There is the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the Xbox, the original Xbox. So the PS2 was released in 2000, the GameCube released in 2001, and the Xbox released in 2001. You could, in theory, say that, well, not in theory, the Dreamcast kind of belongs in this generation as well, but the Dreamcast was discontinued pretty much. Was it by 2002, I think it was? It was kind of dead and buried. So I see these as the main home console competitors to each other across that period of time. What I've done is, I've put, and we've done this before, last year we did N64 versus PlayStation 1. I've taken the top 25 IGN games, so ranked by IGN,
Right.
on each of those consoles and put them together against each other, position by position. We are not questioning whether or not the games on the list do or do not deserve to be on the list. We're not questioning whether the list is right or wrong, which, you know, you look around different lists, there's loads of, and people say all the time, oh, IGN say this and that and things. I said this previously with the N64 and the PS1. When you look at when these lists are written, you would hope that they're so far removed from any influence from developers or game people that would basically say, oh, bump this up the list or whatever. You hope that these are just pure lists of people enjoying the games for what they are, rather than being, you know, someone putting some money in some back pockets to say, oh, can you put it as in this and this? You know, I'll give us this review. I'm not suggesting that happens, but, you know, that's what people do suggest happens.
Top Spin is on this list.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I think that Top Spin is, you know, a tennis game in an Xbox, top 25 Xboxes. I can't imagine there's many people from Top Spin that were like, you know, in people's ears saying, put us on the fucking list. So, we are going to go from position 25 all the way down to position 1. This time, rather than just having the N64 and the PS1 versus each other, we've got 3 consoles, 3 of us,
right,
to try and decide at each position one game that stays and the other 2 get in the bin. Room 101, Down to Hell, etc., etc. No reason to, other than just to do it for fun. Like, as in, you know, this is not definitive. Like, you know, we will not be right about these things. We are just talking about video games and having a good time with some sweets, beers, and friends. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it too, listening. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have marked as well. It would be better if there was actual colours on this, but, you know,
Yeah.
black and white printing. You will see where things are shaded in certain ways. I have shared these on our Instagram for anybody that does want to see these prior to the podcast. They are on our previous week's worth of Instagram images to show each of these individually. For us in studio, if it's white, then basically that means that it has been released at the same time on a console across the way somewhere. If it is in a different sort of shade of, you won't be able to tell, but I will tell you this. If it's in a different shade of grey, then basically that means that it's been released on one of these consoles and it is also in another list. So, for example,
Soul Calibur 2.
Calibur 2
Right.
appears at 23 on PS2 games,
Yep.
and then all the way up at 12, or is it 11? Sorry,
11,
that's gone back poorly. 11 on the GameCube games. So there is almost like a second bite of the apple for those ones. That is, so have a little look around for those ones, because actually you might determine that having a look at this, you might try and put it up against some different games. You might say, actually, I want this as my position 11 game, but risk it for a biscuit and lose it earlier on. Or it could stay in both lists. You know, we'll see. There is also, as well, we have got where the lighter grey is shaded. This was colouring to say this, at the time, was an exclusive for this console when it was released. So, Metal Gear Solid 3, for example, was actually a position 2 in PS2 games, was actually a PS2 exclusive at point of release. It did then release later on as part of the subsistence on the Xbox, but at the time of release, for I guess a determined period of time where it was called a exclusive for that console, it was. You'll probably see there's quite a lot of exclusives for all of them, really. I was shocked by the number of original Xbox exclusives, to be honest, but then I didn't own an Xbox at the time. I got one later on in its lifespan, just to kind of play a lot of Halo, really. Before we start any of this, then, is there anything anyone wants to say about this period of time, gaming life-wise, or anything at all for rules, boundaries, any of that shit? I'm really sorry I'm doing this to you both. But you're a couple of my best friends, and you can forgive me.
So
you have to forgive me.
we're going to talk about each one. So like if it's 10, then we're going to talk about the 3 that are ranked number 10 across all 3 consoles,
and we're going to pick.
We'll picking one.
Picking one to keep.
Right.
Okay. Now the thing is as well, you will also find out, listeners, there are games that we've never played before. I will try to kind of give a little bit of sort of knowledge around the point where it's like, I've read the tiny little review in this part, the blurb of this part of this process. There are also some games that I've never even fucking heard of. And I'm sure you guys will be the same too. So I have starred those for us on here. It might be that we end up just going, well, we're going to pick the game that somebody's played in the room. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Again, don't get pissy about it at home. So let's start with something that it looks like everybody, or not everybody, so somebody has played at least one of these games.
Mm-hmm.
So in the PlayStation 2, and number 25, Guitar Hero 2. In GameCube, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. And in Xbox, in number 25, Phantasy Star Online. So we've all played Guitar Hero 2. Rich, you have played Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, and you've also played Phantasy Star Online, which also sounds a bit like you, Rich.
Yeah.
I think you might be the best placed out of everybody then to speak about this first.
Wade in.
Yeah.
Right. So Eternal Darkness, let's start there because it's the one I've played least. I haven't played much of it at all. But it is the one that I've played most recently. Because I actually only picked it up a couple of months ago. Like creepy as all get out, survival horror fun on the GameCube of all things. And I was playing it in broad daylight and it creeped me out.
Oh, okay.
So like proper leans into the kind of Lovecraftian eldritch stuff, and has some interesting and cool ideas. But I've not played it very much. Phantasy Star Online, again, like I didn't play it on the Xbox, I played it on the GameCube.
Okay.
So I don't know how much of a bearing that has on things.
None. Just if you've played it, you've played it. It's all good.
But it was something that I did actually have the modem for the GameCube back in the day, so I was actually playing it online as well. And it was really good fun. Like I've been tempted to try and track it down again and pick it up, but I'm utterly convinced that to actually play it on my own offline in 2026, I imagine it would be a very, very dull experience because I don't think it wasn't like the combat was the main event. It was the novelty of doing the quests with other people and engaging with them.
One of those early online games then, because I think
you're
it was
basically just mashing a single button for attacks and that sort of thing.
I think it was Dreamcast initially, from what I researched, possibly, and then it came onto these guys, and that is actually on the Xbox list. 9.3 though, well rated. I mean, nearly all these games, 9s pretty much across the board, apart from a few. So
I have it pegged as a bit of a online console gaming pioneer.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is. That's just how I remember it. Guitar Hero 2, like I think I personally would be hard pushed to argue against it.
I'm surprised to see getting the nod 2 on here rather than 3, but I don't know.
2 is the one that I played the most of. It was the right time for me. 3, I think I would probably struggle to tell you much about it.
Yeah.
By comparison, 2 was definitely the one that we
okay.
Played the most of in my house at uni and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think Guitar Hero 2 gets the nod from me. Definitely have the fondest memories of it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have any other experience to be able to say. I mean, Carl's doing the right thing and looking up stuff as we go on his phone.
Why is fantasy spelled with P8?
And for that reason, Fantasy Star, you're out. We wouldn't have anything else to argue with that, to be honest. And also, I think that, whilst Guitar Hero, the first game, is the one that, has the guitar, and that's the very first time it will have been seen. Will any, around that period of time, like I said, I suggested 3, but then 2, 2006, 2007 era with Guitar Hero in hand before Rock Band and Band Hero rolled around. I don't know if there would have been an experience like that.
No, and they probably like between 1 and 2, they did get rid of some of the kinks and stuff like that. So I probably agree with Rich. Like 3 wasn't a massive difference, different songs, but 2 was probably peak.
Right.
1.
Cool. Guitar Hero 2, staying. Perfect. Okay, that was a good start. Position 24, Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2. WarioWare Inc. Mega Party games, which nobody has played for the new GameCube. And then nobody has also played MVP Baseball 2005 on the Xbox, which is interesting to see a sports game on here, because I remember with the N64 PS1 one, there weren't any sports games. There's a couple of sports games that have nipped into the Xbox list over here. And I wonder if that's just because the Xbox, well, Microsoft backed, probably looked and simmed a sports game really, really well back in the day, maybe compared to other consoles. Again, Rich then, so there's no one game that's been played by one person here, which is Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've...
Spider-Man 2 was the Spider-Man game that I played.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a good reason for that. Like, it was the only one I kind of felt I needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun to zip round. WarioWare, I played a lot on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
I don't know how different the GameCube version is, but it was good fun. I could see how it'd be fun here. And MVP Baseball, I've never played.
I don't think I've ever played a baseball game, if I'm going to be honest.
I've got a few under my belt nowadays. Yeah. But Spider-Man 2 is definitely getting the nod from me.
Yeah, I mean, WarioWare is super fun though. That is in like to have those. So when I've read up about this one and compared it to WarioWare that I've played, is it the one on the Wii I played the most? And I don't think necessarily anything has changed across all the consoles it's been released on. It is lots of mini games, and they last a couple of seconds each, and you've just got to kind of work out what's going on, and it'll be random things like people farting and stuff like that, or like it's into move a paper boat across a lake or some shit, and it's like it's a really, really good multiplayer game that I've never experienced this one, but I think this is the first time there was couch multiplayer in a WarioWare game, and it feels like that probably gives it a really good boost for me. But I've never played any of these games, if I'm going to be honest. That would be the one I would pick without even playing any of them and reading about it. But I don't know about you, Kyle, if you've got anything. I've got nothing against Spider-Man 2, though. I've never really played that one.
I've got nothing against it. I don't understand how people made a game out of baseball. That shit is boring.
Well,
if you've ever been, it's one hell of an experience to fall asleep in the stands.
I'm sure MLB The Show is meant to be a really good video game. A lot of people love that, don't they? So
I'm a sucker for the Konami one that barely ever leaves Japan.
Yeah.
Because obviously I am.
I was going to say you enjoyed the baseball game that went to in Japan, didn't you? So there you go, Kyle. That's it.
Maybe that was the problem. Should have gone to Japan and watched it. Yeah. Instead I went to the States.
Okay, cool. I mean, I guess we can't really argue with somebody who's actually played a video game here. So let's go with Spider-Man 2 for the PS2 then. Defeating WarioWare and MVP Baseball. A sports game's got to do a lot to get in. I'm going to be honest, that is in. But then there might be a really, really good sports game in here. So let's skip on to position 23 then. Soul Calibur 2, which appears twice. So it appears here and also appears at number 11 in the GameCube. And we've got versus Luigi's Mansion versus another game that appears twice, Burnout 3 Takedown, which appears in the PlayStation 2 and also the Xbox as well. So there's a couple of things to consider here. We might have to play it, which is the best game out of the three, or you might want to play it and think I want to keep one for later. But then looking up the list, are you risking it for a biscuit to keep it in?
I mean, I think it's wild how different these are ranked. And all three of the games you just mentioned in this row are all games that I've had a heck of a time with. But I cannot understand the jump between. I mean, my personal preference is obviously different to whatever IGN have done. But that's a massive jump for Soul Calibur between consoles.
I think I can explain that.
Please do.
Is it because the games on that console were shit?
No, it's because of...
Wow. I love the Kyle. Wait a minute. How many GameCube games have you played, Kyle? 0. Yeah, they must all be wank.
So it's because I think it's because the versions of Soul Calibur on each of the different consoles had different bonus characters.
They did. Well done, you. Yeah.
So the GameCube one had Link, which I think is generally regarded as basically broken. Like, he's a ridiculous character. I mean, you could argue the toss that maybe, you know, one version looks a little bit different or better or whatever. But I think for me personally, it definitely boils down to the characters. And if it's a toss up between Link on the GameCube version and Heihachi Mishima on the PS2 one,
Well remembered.
I'm going Link every single time.
Yeah.
So I think for me from this list, like, I know I've played Burnout 3 on the PlayStation recently, and I know it's got Pikmin to go up against later, which is quite good. But I think for me, this set of three, I think Luigi's Mansion probably gets the nod.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I've not played the original Luigi's Mansion, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I've got no qualms with that. You know, but the risk of Soul Calibur 2 and Burnout 3 Takedown maybe not getting on any lists by doing this. We cool? We cool? We good?
I mean,
Kyle.
Of all three of the games that are there, right? And I've got to admit, I didn't play the original Luigi's Mansion, but I've played stuff later.
Pouring all the soup mix out. Sound effects.
Of those three games, what's the game that people still not necessarily the original? Like, you don't really hear anybody speak about Soul Calibur very much anymore. You don't really hear them talking about Burnout. But Luigi's Mansion is still around, still being talked about, still, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're going to even if that version necessarily isn't the one, because they've only really done 3, and then they did the HD remake of 2. They've not done anything with 1, have they? Is it on the Switch 2? Is it on under the GameCube section? I think maybe. But we're gonna go. I'm gonna take Sally for the first time to Arcade Club on Thursday, like with the boys. We're on our holidays at the moment, so so be slinging her in the Luigi's Mansion cab with the kids. So looking forward to that. So with that in mind, then Luigi Mansion sticks around at number 23, and for now we bid farewell to Soul Calibur 2 and Burnout 3 Takedown. A game that we gave 10 out of 10 to about 3 weeks ago. But that wasn't the Xbox version, that was a PS2 version. In at 22 then, so we've got Persona 3. Now, FES or FES or FES, I guess. I don't know what that stands for. I've not actually found out, even though I did look into it. It is that is in the enhanced version of Persona 3, released in 2008 on the PlayStation 2. That is just like insane. Versus Beyond Good and Evil versus Psychonauts. None of us have played Persona 3 Fez. Have you played Persona 3 at all? Which I'm looking in your direction.
I've played 4 and 5 though.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So you can at least talk about, Persona a little bit
in general.
Beyond Good and Evil, interesting that none of us have played that. I would have thought that one of us, and there's just been a PS5, well, in fact, there's been a 20th anniversary remaster recently as well.
I had it on PC back in the day. Never got round to playing it. It was in like a disc set of like 4 games. It was a massive box, but it had like Jedi Academy and stuff like that in it as well. And I just played that. I just played the shit out of that. I never got around to Beyond Good and Evil.
Because who doesn't like swords that are lasers?
Exactly.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
We do that all the time at home. Psychonauts, then. So, Rich.
Yeah, that's a Double Fine and Tim Schafer platformer, 3D adventure-y type thing. Standardly quirky looking, standardly quirky humour, but does tackle some pretty dark and difficult themes, and does it in a way that is engaging and interesting. Yeah. Again, like I haven't played it to death, but from what I have played of it, impressed, and would probably get the nod from me from those 3.
Yeah, I think any of these, this seems like a really good bracket of 3 games that I've only ever heard really good things about, to be honest, from a lot of people. I think that you're always going to kill a darling here. I mean, a lot of people would say that Persona 3 has maybe been surpassed now, potentially, by other games, but it's certainly, I think, a top 3 Persona game, the enhanced version of it for people still. It was the one that introduced all the social links and stuff, and go to school by day and then fight demons by night, and sort of, that, like, I know there's been that is kind of like a general sort of theme, I guess, really, in Persona games. So, I can see why that would be something that people would gravitate towards. But yeah, if I was going to pick any to play next, say for example as a backlog on the podcast, I would be picking Psychonauts. So I know that's on other platforms as well. So Carl, any input? You're all good?
I have 0 to offer on this one.
Perfect, that's fine, that's good. That's the kind of honesty that we
Motion
need.
carried.
So yeah, exactly, cool. Psychonauts gets it in at position 22. Position 21, Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PlayStation 2, Skies of Arcadia Legends on the GameCube, and Prince of Persia Sands of Time on the Xbox. We're in a similar position here. So this, we're in a bit of a glut at the moment of games we've not really touched. I own Kingdom Hearts 2. I think I own 2.5 digitally. I've just never got around to playing it, to be honest. I do want to play it. To play a Disney Square Enix RPG.
Yeah, definitely on my radar.
Yeah, that I'd love to get around to doing. Skies of Arcadia, is that? I think it's an RPG that was... I think that might even have been ported from the Dreamcast. Kyle's having a little look up maybe to sort of see, or maybe he's not. He's just checked on the podcast. And then, Prince of Persia Sands of Time. Interesting to see this on here because this is on here twice as well. So this is actually in at this position and higher up on the PlayStation 2. Rich, you've played that.
Yep. Again, 3D action platformy thing. Based on the storied old franchise, but you can rewind time and do cool stuff like that. Definitely. Again, would get the nod from me here. Not least because when Prince of Persia pops up later on, it's also going toe to toe with Beautiful Joe.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know how I want that particular fight to play
I thought
out.
That might be a thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Prince of Persia, I think for me in this bit.
Do you want any more beer?
I would have more beer.
Yeah, okay. We've got a few beers, so we've got a couple of staple fares. If I'm going to be honest, there's a BrewDog who are in the news at the moment. We'll always be able to talk about Vocation. We've got them, in a good way. A couple of Vocation beers, and we've also got one that we've not tried before, which is Bullhouse. What do you think of that? Bullhouse Hoppy Days.
Nice.
It was good, wasn't it? It was refreshing. I'd definitely recommend that. Carl's on a Radler. But yeah, definitely. I think that you'd like that one, Carl. It's Belfast Brewery.
I wasn't expecting to drink. I drove here, wasn't I? So.
Oh no! I'm
being good.
It was not a criticism. I will criticise you for your game choices only. No, so that's fine. Right. Well, I don't have anything else to add to that apart, and I've never played Skies of Arcadia. I know very little about it, so that's got no chance of going through. Kingdom Hearts 2, I do want to play it. Kyle, you asked a good question before about is this like the order of how is this ordered? Who's it by? So IGN. What I take the purpose of doing as well is adding in what their rating is as well, because it does not sit in line at all with what the positions are, because the ratings come from the review and then they've obviously gone later on and gone, oh yeah, this is my top 25 games. But actually, if you look how poor the rating is, that is the poorest game in the PlayStation 2 list by far on Kingdom Hearts. 7.6 was their review score of it. And then it's sat all the way up there, above other games that have got lots of 9s. So that for me is a bit of a tell. I think that it's probably not as good as it's one of those games that I think it just has a reputation, Kingdom Hearts, and it's like it's Disney, it's Final Fantasy, that is in, but
I don't know if Kingdom Hearts 2 is the Kingdom Hearts game that you play.
Yeah.
I can imagine that there might be other ones out there.
Yeah, I do want to try the PSP ones. I mean, they're quite good as well. So, so should we say Prince of Persia gets that one? I think probably for it's got 9.6 on the Xbox as well. That's pretty amazing. So, yeah, cool, awesome, right?
Numbers.
So yeah, no
It's
numbers.
a win for maths.
So far it's 2 PlayStation 2 games and 2 Xbox games and 1 GameCube game. Right then, we're up at 20 now. Then, so Time Splitters 2. Everybody's played that.
Mm-hmm.
Killer 7, a game I really want to play. Rich, you've played that. That's on the GameCube. Yep. And then Otogi, Myth of Demons. We are hitting a dearth of Xbox here. I will try and sort of give something, but there's about 5 or 6 Xbox games in a row here that none of us have played. My understanding is that this was a FromSoft game and a action-adventure FromSoft game that, as you would expect everybody to say this afterwards, Dark Souls owes a lot too, apparently. I don't know anything more about it, but I think it was well received at the time, obviously, enough to be in the top 25 Xbox games ever. So, have at it then. So, Time Splitters 2, Killer 7. Do you want to start us off with Killer 7, Rich? I know you're doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but you've played a lot of video games.
Killer 7 is one of the things that I've got some notes stashed away on to do a free player for at some point.
I'll make a note to not do it for me then.
I'm kind of in the process of playing it. It's unusual. It is as weird and unusual as every review or comment you've ever read about it says, but in kind of a cool way. It's sort of an on-rails shooter with the fact that you can kind of pick and choose where the rails are a little bit, if that makes any sense. But there's a fair bit of backtracking in it. It looks really cool. It's a really cool art style, and it is sufficiently off-kilter and disturbing to be cool and fun. And unsettling, and I kind of like it for that. But gameplay wise, in a fight with Time Splitters 2, like, I'm sorry, like, Time Splitters 2 is winning
even
every
in a
time
fight. Time Splitters 2 fighting in Time Splitters 2.
Like, the amount of hours we spent on that when, you know, Perfect Dark had kind of gone by the by. We moved on to Time Splitters 2. And the amount of times that, you know, my friend Peter managed to go solo in multiplayer games as Team Couscous, and no one knew how he did it. And yeah, all the options in the multiplayer, and some fun stuff in the single player as well. Yeah, like Time Splitters 2.
It's possibly one of the best couch co-op games ever, I'd say. Like, you know, playing Time Splitters 2, really good time. Certainly for how old we were at the time as well. So
it's got to be the best jump in, jump out couch co-op game, surely.
Yeah, it's getting there, isn't it? That is in. So I think it's like it's at the echelon above when everyone's stopped talking about fucking GoldenEye. It's like, you know, it's there. So yeah, I've got no qualms with that being there. And Otogi, sorry, no one's ever played you. No, you know, no. You know,
I do apologise.
No hard times. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, it just feel like, you know, it's written on a piece of paper in front of me. I feel like we owe it something. You know, at least it got a mention on a podcast that at least 35 people listen to. So, if not more, sometimes. So, right then, we are jumping up to number 19. Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal. So I just want to stop there, right? Okay, for Ratchet and Clank, you know, being, I guess, what I would consider a jovial, not a kids game certainly, but certainly, you know, like a nice, shiny, lovely video game series, but from Insomniac. Their naming scheme: Up Your Arsenal, Going Commando, Size Matters, Quest for Booty, A Crack in Time, yeah, maybe not so much, Full Frontal Assault. Like, you know, it's quite on the nose as naming. Just wanted to bring that up there, because I've never said Up Your Arsenal out loud before.
It could all just be coincidental.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, no, yeah, I am being judgmental, aren't I? Resident Evil remake on the GameCube. So the original Resident Evil game made a jump to the GameCube, and they added to it massively. And there's a couple of, in fact, the next game on the GameCube does the same thing. PlayStation 1 game-ish to a GameCube S game, and Steel Battalion. Does anyone know anything about Steel Battalion?
Is that the one that had the massive controller that was almost like a desk of buttons that I really would love to try out?
Do you know how much it cost at the time?
Crazy money now,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about the time.
£200 at the time, which for a 40-button rig, you know, so the Xbox cost £300, and then you £200 for that. So, but like I say, for a 40-button rig in a game, I don't think that's...
that sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Well, it's like one of those things where, you know, like, I'm going to say this sentence out loud. Is that more unique and special than playing the Resident Evil remake or a Ratchet and Clank game?
So, looking back at this, the only reason, and I've only just realised this, because it's been like a bit of an earwig, the only reason I didn't play Steel Battalion was because of the cost.
Yeah.
But I did play a demo of it, minus the keyboard and stuff. And it was just Gundam, not Gundam.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Like, it was... I was going to say there's nothing special to it, but that's being mean. Like, it was just that kind of, like, boys and toys, like, you know, massive robot that you're chugging about the screen and just blowing stuff up. And there's a special place in my heart for stuff like that.
Yeah, same, definitely.
I can fully see a world where you two are sat with that in front of you.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like,
now that we're adults, we can face off. Oh.
Man, like
I'll have my rig over here.
yeah, like
I meant one rig with two rigs in a room. Like,
fuck, like hook me up, like because I used to have like a flight stick and stuff like that. I got rid of it a while back, and then I started getting into like fucking Mech Warrior and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, should I rebuy it? And then I could, but yeah, like that sort of shit, definitely up for. I do want to tip the cap for Resident Evil though, because A is Resident Evil, and B, like I think this is the remake that kind of set the blueprint for how you approach a remake. And like it plays really, really well, still does. Looks really, really good, still does. But did not have the opportunity of coming with a 40 button controller that takes up the entirety of a desk so that you can control a big stompy robot. Personally, now I've said it out loud, imagine how good Resident Evil would be if it did.
Oh wow, yeah, it'd be cool. Well, there was the chainsaw controller for 4, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but give me my mech game. Give me my fucking mechs in Resident Evil. Like, come on. So yeah, like I think I'm tempted to say that I would go Resident Evil Remake, but if we're talking in terms of the one game on the list that I've never tried that I would really fucking love to try, it's Steel Battalion.
I mean, I've got no issue with that. There's nothing inside me, and I know a lot of people that lynch me for this. Like, nothing is driving me to play any Ratchet and Clank games. Like, maybe the new one, Rift Apart on PS5, that's meant to be really, really good. Like in terms of how it looks on the PS5 and how it feels. But there are so many Ratchet and Clank games, and they're just the ones I've named that have got, you know, like funny pun names. Where there's actually another 4 or 5 of them that are named normally, which is even weirder. Like, as in, you know, stick to one naming convention. And I've heard they're all good. It's on the list of top PS2 games, and that's above Time Splitters 2, for example. Fucking hell, that is in. But I'm still just not driven to it. I'd be more likely to want to play the Resident Evil remake, which I have, but not on the GameCube. But yeah, holy shit, I'd love to be able to just, you know, feel like I was in a fucking mech.
Yeah.
I think we go with Steel Battalion, a game nobody has played, but everybody wants to play. We're all chipping in for that later. That'll be fun. Okay, cool. So, next on the list then, we have got, again, only one game out of these has been played. One game, you know, that is everybody knows, in a similar version that just happened in the previous one. So Jak 2, so the second Jak and Daxter game. And a bit of a weird one. No one's played that. Meant to be very good, like a darker sort of riff on the first Jak and Daxter game. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on the GameCube, the remake of Metal Gear Solid from the PlayStation 1, and a game called Breakdown that has got a rating of 6.7. I looked at the review of this. The most, I guess, most significant sort of part of the review seemed to be that you
can I guess?
Yeah, go on.
Do you play as a breakdown recovery person cruising around motorways helping people that are stuck?
It's no,
you do not.
No,
that's disappointing.
Man, it's a first-person melee fighter with shooting elements that
which I like role play an AA guy.
Yeah.
I mean, without offending anybody, the first thing that comes up on my search is analysis. How bad is Breakdown really? So I think we should just move on.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's in the top 25 list. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, I think that because it was a first-person melee fighter, there wasn't many of those kicking about at the time, and still aren't, probably for reasons such as this. I think at one point you regurgitate a burger in first-person view. I don't really know. Sure. I'm sure there's VR games that do that right now. So let's move back on to Jak 2, which I think it's a fairer shake of the stick personally for me than Ratchet and Clank, because I have played Daxter, you know, and I really enjoyed that game. One of the best PSP games that I've played, and I'm aware that how good Jak and Daxter, or how well it is received and rated by people. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, Rich.
Yeah.
We've toyed with the idea of doing this for the podcast before, probably for more Metal Gear Solid content.
Probably still will at some point.
Yeah, and
I feel like there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
It's Metal Gear Solid in Metal Gear Solid 2 clothing.
Yeah.
So it looks very much like Metal Gear Solid 2. You have like the first person view options and stuff like that. The problem is they never really bothered rebalancing the game or rejigging anything. So it makes Metal Gear Solid 1 comically easy if you can see everything in first person, because you're not dealing with like fixed cameras or anything like that. You can just see, when everybody's walking around, grid patterns and stuff like that. And not only that, but some of the changes they made to the cutscenes, where it's all very much like John Woo does Mission Impossible 2 type swirly stuff, slow motion unnecessarily, like just baffling movements and things like that, and like backflipping off of rockets in mid-flight, and all that kind of stuff. Which, on the one hand, fucking cool. On the flip side, fucking stupid. So
that could just be easily described. Metal Gear Solid as a series.
That's the thing. I think they were leaning into it, but possibly a bit too hard at that point. Personally, I quite like it. However, there are a lot of people, understandably, who would scratch it off this list, walk away, and never think about it ever again. I think, weirdly, for that reason, I would give it the nod here. Because it's divisive, but it tries something different. I kind of appreciate it for that.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, let's be fair. Like, as in, it's one of the only games that we've played. Everyone knows about Metal Gear Solid. I think the other Metal Gear Solid games from this generation have got a harder fight higher up a list somewhere else against other games, and might, maybe win, maybe lose out. So let's get Metal Gear Solid in now, when we know how good Metal Gear Solid 1 is, even if this is balanced weirdly and fucking weird. Okay, cool. In at 17, we have got Ico on the PS2. We've got Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on the GameCube. Nobody's played that. I'm looking at you there, Rich, to sort of think that maybe you...
I've played Metroid Prime 1.
Yeah, okay, cool, fair enough. And then Top Spin. Nobody has played the original. The Top Spin
is tennis.
But the thing is, I had a great. I mean, like, I had a great time with Virtua Tennis on the Vita. Like, that's
a different game.
It is. That's a point well made. My point being that
what you're saying is you enjoyed a tennis game.
a high level sim-like tennis game can be enjoyed, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm not disputing that.
If we were talking about the Wii and we were talking tennis games, I might not veto it.
Are you suggesting that a tennis game is not good enough to stand up to either the follow-up to one of the best games ever made, Metroid Prime 2, or Ico, one of the most unique PlayStation 2 games that...
what Carl might be getting at is the fact that a tennis game on a different system that's not on this list and is also a different tennis game.
You said that can't be used as a reason. Well, okay. We beg to... No, we don't beg to differ. You're right. Okay, cool.
We just had an argument about the fact that Steel Battalion would win if... This is just the inverse of that argument.
It is indeed. So, let's talk about the two games then that have got a chance here. Metroid Prime 2. So, nobody's played that. I'm not in a position to say, if that's better or worse than the first Metroid Prime, but everybody ever speaks about how good Metroid Prime is, and the fact that it's sat there at number 1 on the GameCube game list anyway, and nearly always is as the best GameCube game released, says to me that maybe the second one is not necessarily diminishing returns, but just not as good as the first one, really. Ico, Rich?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's different. It's got an atmosphere to it. Personally, from what I've played, again, I've not played it all the way through and all that kind of stuff. I just prefer Shadow of the Colossus, which, granted, is going to probably, looking at that list that it's alongside, lose its bracket later on.
What?
I think that might be a tricky one for it. So I'm tempted to say Ico.
I think so too. When you see them bundled in that PS3 HD package that you can get, you do think of Shadow Colossus, and obviously that's the one that's had the PS4 remake. So the big brother to Ico. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, people whisper in halls quietly and kind of go, but Ico's probably, is that the better game kind of thing? Almost that is in the more artistic, even comparative to Shadow of the Colossus. But yeah, I'm down with that. I think that's probably a good one. Right. So we haven't had much, I guess, so far where we've been like, oh no, fuck off, that's stupid and stuff. This one's interesting. In at 16, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on the PS2, Ikaruga on the GameCube, which was the Saturn game that then got ported to the GameCube, I believe, 3 years later. Dreamcast would make more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, timing-wise, sorry. And then Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Special Edition. Now, the reason this is marked down as a different version on the Xbox is that it is a different version of the Xbox. So there are more added parts to the GTA San Andreas experience on the Xbox. I would also argue as well, looking at the list of PS2 games, nearly always number one with a bullet in all these lists is GTA San Andreas. In any list, like the Games Radar list was the same as well. It's nearly always the top-rated PS2 game. So we've got this decision to make here where we're kind of going, right, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I've spoke about how much I love that recently on the podcast, and I know looking around the room that is the case. We've got one of the best shmups ever made, which I know will pull on your heartstrings, Rich. And then we've got GTA San Andreas, which none of us have played on the Xbox, the Special Edition, but at the same time, knowing how hard the number one rank will be, do we play it so that actually San Andreas gets in here, but then actually, does it even deserve to over the other two games?
May I?
Please do. They're all just my questions.
Because unless I'm mistaken, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 doesn't appear anywhere else in this list.
It does not.
Right, in that case, that's an easy decision. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Okay.
Like, Ikaruga, I like it. It's not my favourite shmup by any stretch of the imagination. GTA San Andreas Special Edition, never played it, but yeah, it's not as if San Andreas needs more flowers. Versus one of my favourite games of all time. I'm going Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
I maybe it isn't as hard as we think it is then. I don't know. Kyle, have you got any input on that?
I'm struggling with this one.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether... Just personal preference. I like GTA San Andreas, and I have sold you down the river because I did play this on the Xbox. So,
oh, right, okay. I'll put a Y beside it. That's cool.
Yeah, you just
there we go.
Boxing.
Spreadsheet. Love it.
But yeah, I don't know if because I would have both of these higher up than where we're at. If you see what I mean.
I think all of us probably would. Yeah.
This obviously isn't my list, so if I'm being forced to choose one, I think I have to agree with Rich.
Okay.
Like jumping off buildings, throwing skateboards at people, King of the Hill. Like it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all there. I'm coming for you with my skateboard. I'm going to whack you around the head with it later.
Yep. I would expect no less.
See, it's funny, on the Games Radar list that I looked at before, that had like Tony Hawk's Underground as the one that, and I was like, I don't think that's the one that you put up on the PlayStation 2. Is it? I mean,
I have a soft spot for it.
Yeah, not that.
Is it the one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I genuinely am really like. I shouldn't be playing the game necessarily, but I'm super concerned about that number one spot with the games that I got.
Are you?
I am.
Are you?
Yeah, I
really?
am.
I sit in Fighters camp. You're alone.
Yeah, I'm not. I know damn well what.
Well, we're not there yet. Okay, stop.
Like,
stop.
That's not even a decision.
And the thing is,
go get your rig.
We solved this with Max, like men.
It's not just the guy from Avatar. Is it like the bad guy in Avatar?
Fuck, let's make this happen.
Yeah. The thing about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is it's not Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for me. That is in whereas everyone I know that a lot of people this is their Tony Hawk's, and that's me pulling back on a Tony Hawk's game is like feels like just horrendous. But I'm a bit like, oh, would I put in like the best edition of San Andreas over these games that like I probably would, but the vote is 2-1, so it is going to be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 for the PS2. I just want it noted that it wasn't as easy as skitching on the back of a taxi.
What you're saying is you want it noted that was not your choice.
I will note that on the spreadsheet. Not much. Well, the thing, I want it noted that is a really difficult, way more difficult choice than I thought that you two made it there. So that's what I think it is. Anyway, let's go. Next one. I think this might be easy too. In at 15, Burnout 3 Takedown, who we've already took down in a different list. The PS2, Pikmin on the GameCube, the first Pikmin game, and Full Spectrum Warrior on the Xbox, which is a game I've just picked up recently for about £2.25 in a digital sale. Not played it though. Apparently, it's like an army. Like basically, it was used to train the US Army
tool.
Yeah. Before it became a video game, which is fucking cool. And I'm really excited to play that at some point. But it's Burnout 3, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've got a soft spot for Pikmin. Don't get me wrong. It's quirky. It's unusual. It's different. But it ain't Burnout 3.
Yeah, I think Kyle. Anything more to add on that point? I think we could probably just get through that. Yeah. No. Burnout 3 takedown.
Get it out now. Give me a rig.
It's so good. What, a Burnout 3 a takedown rig? Imagine a Burnout 3 like actual rig. Just like the amount of takedowns just being upside down, flipped over in this rig. Oh, that'd feel amazing.
See, now you're getting it. Now you're getting the vision.
Yeah. Burnout 3 takedown takes down everything else in position 15. Position 14, we have Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which has already won over the Xbox. That's not so that it couldn't win in this one. I know what's happening here though. And then we've got Beautiful Joe in the GameCube section, which Rich has played. And then we've also got, though, which is a very worthy competitor over in the Xbox side of things, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. So I saw someone describe Morrowind as the best of the Elder Scrolls games today. I mean,
Morrowind or Morrowind?
Morrowind, you absolute cretin.
Yeah. Well, I don't fucking know. Right, okay. What a shit name. What? Do I? It's not double.
What does Morrowind mean?
No, I've always called it Morrowind.
No, it's Morrowind.
That's how much credence I pay to that game.
It's Morrowind, right?
It is Morrowind.
Yeah, that's fine then. Okay, right. Well, tell me about...
I'll go back to being incredulous.
Look, okay, 150 episodes in, and that's definitely the first mistake, about the 50th mistake that I made on a game name. Anyway, so Morrowind, definitely a worse name. Versus,
it that?
Yeah, it
Right,
is. Yeah, okay, I'm
To be
dying on
continued.
that. I'm dying on that hill. Beautiful Joe, great name. Let's say, for the sake of arguments, I think it's easy to say that actually Prince of Persia's had its flowers elsewhere.
Yep.
That's out. So those two games, you've both played each. Tell me who's going to go through here.
Beautiful Joe is incredible looking. It's got a really cool, like, cartoony style. Side-scrolling beat 'em up with a bit of platforming. You can speed up time, you can slow down time. Those things also have an impact on your attacks and how your enemies approach you and all that kind of stuff. So it's surprisingly deep. With a satisfyingly goofy story. Okay. It ticks many of my boxes. And I have a real soft spot for it, but I've never really been able to make much headway in it. And I don't know if that's me or it. Elder Scrolls 3, I have played a lot of many other Elder Scrolls games, but I have not actually played much Morrowind or Morrowind. So yeah, it's one that has passed me by. So Beautiful Joe gets my vote here.
Right, this is a hill that I'm willing to die on.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
Elder Scrolls 3, in my personal opinion, is probably the game that has pushed the most boundaries in my lifetime.
Oh, okay, right.
So if you look at the date that came out, even just in this competitive round, the amount that game did at the point it came out was stupid. It has that same kind of, like what you said about Beautiful Joe. It has that same kind of, it's actually tough to play. So it's, whilst it's a different kind of game, etc. Like, it was tough enough that it was kind of bordering on Dark Souls level tough. Maybe that's just because I was like 11. But but the things it did in terms of like depth of character creation, it was a massive leap from the previous Elder Scrolls games, while still being a connected story. The vastness of the world that was there, the depth of the world, whether that be colours, creatures, whatever else, the amount that it did and the sheer scale of it, I don't think that you can win this category.
You know what?
I'm being really polite. How deep do you want to go?
No,
I don't think you need to.
You don't need to.
I think you've done it now.
I think
you've done it.
Yeah, because like Beautiful Joe is a game that I really, really like and I really, really appreciate. However, there are other games that kind of do very, very similar things. Not in the same way, but very, very similar. Elder Scrolls, yeah, like, because even just from the bits of the various Elder Scrolls games that I have played that are older, you just know how much of a step up that was. And even compared to other RPGs from the time and stuff like that, like, yeah, no argument from me.
Yeah.
So, I think if I'm recalling it correctly, like the other Elder Scrolls games that you've played, if you played Oblivion, then
I played Oblivion, Skyrim, but I have gone back to some of the early ones because they were going free on Steam not too long ago. So like Arena and the really old,
which are madness.
Ones.
They are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. But yeah, like, so 3 is in that list. Like, I can play it. I just haven't got round to playing it for more than about 10 minutes.
Well, you should.
Yeah, I know.
But you know how Skyrim is basically like it just keeps coming back around.
Yeah.
Morrowind's kind of in that same category, and if I remember it correctly, Oblivion, whilst it's a different story, is basically just the same game, just relaced on a new engine. So basically, like, if they had the engine available at the time to do what they wanted to do with Morrowind, and there's so much, if you read back on it, that they had to cut out because it just wouldn't cope.
Yeah.
That, like, that's so far ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Basically, that's
fair.
Beyond the fact that I love it and it's nostalgic, and I will always be a weird little cat person jumping in people's windows and robbing them.
You are a weird little cat person. That is a really great, convincing argument. That has also made me feel much better about when I go on holiday, and I can just have Rich, Fiona, and Kyle on the podcast, and I can just not have to be here for some Elder Scrolls chat. So Elder Scrolls 3, Tomorrowland, that goes through. Morrowind. Goes through. I just for my penny's worth, if I was going to play those 2 games, just because of who I am, I would opt for Beautiful Joe. But I have heard it's quite difficult. Just because I like something a bit, that's the kind of genre that I'm into. I do need to play an Elder Scrolls game at some point in my life. I'm aware of that. I'm more likely to play an Elder Scrolls game than I am a Zelda game again. So, right, we are at a halfway point. Should we take a quick break? You guys in the podcast listening, you won't notice anything, but we'll be back in a second. Okay, we're back, and this is the second part of the podcast. We're counting down the top 25 PS2 games versus top 25 GameCube games versus top 25 Xbox games as judged by IGN.com. And we have just gone through the first 13. It looks as though we've got 6 in the PlayStation 2 section. We've got 2 only in the GameCube at the moment. Not that that's right or wrong. And we have got 4 in the Xbox then. So that makes 12 even. So we've got another 13 games to go. Cool. We're moving on now. We have got Devil May Cry 3 for the PlayStation 2 versus Paper Mario The 1,000-Year Door on the GameCube versus a game called Mech Assault that I have not played or heard much about previously on the Xbox. The thing that I know about that was that it was a day one Xbox Live game.
Really?
And it is another mech game that you two fanboys over there will be.
Mechs are fun.
Titan falling over.
No
Apparently it was really well loved, and the game that when Xbox went live on the internet was the one that everybody was playing initially. So that's the only thing that I have got to say about that game. Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door had a remake recently, remaster,
something like
that on the Switch. But the only game
on
that
my list of things to buy.
Right, okay, cool.
Looking to pick it up.
Yeah, cool. So the only game that anyone's played so far is yourself, Rich. Devil May Cry 3.
Yeah. Oh, I like Devil May Cry 3.
Well, that's one then, shall we?
Yeah. Just chalk it up. Yeah.
I really like it. It's my favourite one. It's ridiculous. It's loud. It's brash. It's guns blazing, it's sword swinging, it's quick, it's ridiculous, and I will probably be making various very similar arguments for Ninja Gaiden later on. But yeah, like the characters are fun, the action's fun. Like it remembers it's a video game, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, I love me a bit of Devil May Cry 3.
Will I enjoy it more than Devil May Cry, the original?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Do I skip 2?
Yes.
Okay. And it's okay to skip 2, is it?
Yeah.
Right, fair enough.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure Devil May Cry 3 is basically a prequel.
Ah, fair enough.
Anyway, so like, Devil May Cry 2, I quit out of.
Yeah.
In the end, I played it a bit and was just like, you know what, it's too much of a slog.
Yeah.
1 is fun, 2 is a slog, 3 is just, 3 is chef's kiss.
Perfect, cool. Well, the fact that we just spoke about Devil May Cry pretty much for that one there, I think speaks to where this is going. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. I am same as you. I do want to play a Paper Mario game.
We'd like to give it a crack.
I think I might even have this kicking about on the Wii that has the GameCube bits on it. So yeah, but Mech Assault, like I say, sorry, we don't really know anything about that. But if you were there at the dawn of the Xbox Live online service, sounds like it was pretty cool. So well done you. Devil May Cry 3 is the game that moves on. Cool, right. Here we go. Katamari Damacy, in position 12 for the PS2. Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, no one's played that one on the GameCube. And Project Gotham Racing 2 on the Xbox, which you have both played. I know that I kind of had a thing in being my bonnet kind of about not really understanding Katamari Damacy when we reviewed it. And I think I ended up trying to give it a 6, and I think you give it an 8. The reroll version. I feel bad about that. Not because I didn't think it was necessarily a good game, and not because I didn't kind of get what it was trying to do. I just didn't get it. That is not.
That's all I'm hearing right now.
Like I get the fun bit.
Yeah.
But the gameplay didn't gel with me as well as I wanted it to. I wanted to love that game, and I found it less lovable.
At least we got past the name on this one. The other one just went off.
I mean,
it was called Morrowind.
I was just waiting so I can question whether or not I've put.
This is why you're not allowed back in the podcast, Carl.
I'm not sure I've played Project Gotham Racing 3. I think I've played Jade Empire on the row above it. Spoilers.
What? What?
I have also played Jade Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
So I just want to.
Oh, sorry.
Just want to check the.
Fucking no. All right. Okay.
I might have got the box wrong.
No. You have played Jade Empire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine then. Yeah. So I'm sorry then. So Kyle.
I think I've played PGR.
Yeah,
I have. I've played PGR too.
I put me down for PGR. I don't know why. That is in. There's like literally like I don't. I've played Project Gotham Racing, but I don't really remember which one it was.
I think I might have played. Was there a 3?
Yeah,
I think I might have played a 3.
Yeah,
loads.
I've only that was a rental game at some point. Really good though. Kyle, do you want to tell us a little bit about Project Gotham, and then.
I mean, you don't know if I've played it because you didn't even include me on the fucking list.
Please? Well, excuse me, you are on my list in pen. Joined late.
All right. What is it to say about Project Gotham? It's decent. I would just view it as like the Gran Turismo of Xbox.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Basically. It's not doing anything wildly outlandish for a racing game. It's not like Burnout, which was just destroy things at speed, and that was quite entertaining and fun.
Yeah.
But it's just a solid game. Like I wouldn't die on a hill for it though.
No, fair enough. I mean, from what I remember, it is the exact same sort of feelings about it. I can't remember what we've played recently. This is not a very good podcasting point, but something we played recently where those guys have gone on to develop another game, and I thought the other game was better than Project Gotham Racing. It was almost like it was a precursor to something that they've gone on to and done a better job with. Which
Geometry Wars?
Yeah. I can't remember now. I think it was a racing game. Anyway, so yeah, good enough, but and it was like good to see a racing sim game of that caliber on the Xbox. But yeah, I assume Katamari.
La 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 la. And I'm not even sorry.
No, I mean, poor Fire Emblem. Have you ever played any? Have you played any?
Have I? If I have, it's not been for very long. I think there might have been like a rental at some point on something back when, but like it's something that I'm much more inclined to play nowadays than I would have been back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like with Paper Mario, it's on my list to get round to one at some point. I just haven't worked out which one and when yet.
Yeah, me too.
But la 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 la.
That's fair. Okay. Good point, well made.
Thank you.
Katamari Damacy is going through at position 12. Position, we never said this was going to be fucking fair, did we? Position 11, Bully, or Canis Canem Edit, on the PlayStation 2. Soul Calibur 2 is back after being denied previously by Luigi's Mansion, and that is going up against Jade Empire. So, a juicy one, this one, I believe, because we've all played these games to some extent. I've just bought, again, similar to I was talking about Full Spectrum Warrior. For some reason, all the Xbox and Xbox Live games are all, like the old versions, are all really cheap at the moment on digital store. Like they're all at £2.50. So again, picked this up the other day. Not sure if I'll ever play it, but I mean, I meant to be very good. You guys have both played it, and do you want to start off with that one, and then we'll work our way back?
So I've not played it for very long. So if you want to take it, Carl, by all means.
So, Jade Empire is an interesting one. Like, the game itself, would I say that it's like really up there as one of my favourites? I probably wouldn't. But the things it did were really interesting, and it was a good game, and it was BioWare after coming off basically turn-based RPG, going into free-flowing combat-based RPG, and I'm pretty sure they did a Jade Empire 2, and that was actually pretty good as well, but it was definitely a massive step forward for BioWare in terms of the things that they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And it was vastly different from... Was Mass Effect 2 out yet? Was it only Mass Effect 1 at the time? I think it'll only been 1.
Interesting, because I don't think... Are they even on this list
I'm
anywhere?
surprised Mass Effect isn't on this list.
There's a few.
Was Mass Effect not an Xbox 360 one?
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was a little bit later.
I mean, this is 2005 Jade Empire. Interestingly enough, so like you said, BioWare. So they'll have done
Power of Google.
They'll have done Knights of the Old Republic prior to that, which comes a little bit later in the list. IGN gave Jade Empire 9.9, the highest score of any game anywhere on any of these lists. So you think it's the highest scored game out of 75 of the best games.
Mass Effect. Can I guess the year for Mass Effect?
You can't go.
2007.
You are correct.
Hey, really? That's interesting.
November 20. I mean, what I want to know out of this pod is what is Rich doing to look after himself? Because the level of recall he has versus the shit that I can't remember is
it's fine. I just don't go out.
As judged by this list here.
Yeah. I would have a lot more to say about KOTOR than I would Jade Empire.
Yeah.
But as somebody that went from KOTOR to Jade Empire, I was really impressed with Jade Empire at the time.
Yeah.
And it is a game that I've gone back to later.
Okay.
And the things that it does for the studio are quite impressive.
Brilliant. Cool. I think that was really good analysis. Thank you for that. So we've got the rebuttal then of Soul Calibur 2 and Bully. I've not really spoke much about video games on the podcast so far. We're starting to get into my sort of, I'm just such a sort of, person that's only ever played the top 10 games of anything, really. Bully, this is the game that broke my PlayStation 2. It got stuck in my PlayStation 2, and it forced me to buy a PlayStation 3 when I was at university.
So you got bullied into it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. And much like with Modern Warfare 2 breaking my PS3, I think it was the sheer amount I was playing this game that broke the console. It literally destroyed its spine. Just the evolution of going from San Andreas, for example, and then rolling into something like Canis Canem Edit, and having that little open world, all the Grand Theft Auto-ness and putting it into a school, like as in it's absolute genius. And then you can see how they then rolled into the Warriors and how that worked as well. Like it is a wonderful microcosm of what Rockstar sort of, I guess, developed in terms of an open world game, and then just started to have fun with it. Like, and to bring it into that private school setting, taking the fucking piss out of that sort of like setting in terms of how that works and all the different dynamics of the people that are in there, you know, and nailing it from a story point of view, and also all of the little mini games that you can play. It's a wonderful, fun game that I think I spent more time playing Bully than I did actually probably playing San Andreas. That is in terms of actual amount played in the game. Did I enjoy it as much as that game? Probably not, but certainly as a late PS2 game, wonderful experience, really, really fun. So, again, not super dying on the hill for it though. That is in, you know, I can definitely be won over by a Soul Calibur or Jade Empire argument.
Well, welcome to the hill that I will die on. So Soul Calibur 2...
let it go really easily before.
Yeah, Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube, man. Like, I like Bully, and I respect what Jade Empire did, and it's another one that's on my list to play at some point. I've got it floating around on my Xbox and all that kind of stuff. And from what little of it I have played, I think you're right, Kyle. I think it is impressive, and I really like.
Do you want
the
to know a
setting.
fun fact about Jade Empire?
Yeah,
they went to one of the American universities. I can't remember where it was, and worked out, basically old Japanese dialect. And I know how much Japan you like, and created, or rewound on the modern Japanese language, and the language that is in the game is an entirely new take on a language that had died.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
In Japan.
That is quite cool. However, so I've been thinking about this a little bit, right? And Soul Calibur 2, like, when me and my friends at school, sixth form, wherever I was at that point, we would play like Smash Bros and stuff like that on the GameCube because everyone did, right? But Soul Calibur 2 was the closest we got to a proper arcade fighter, right? A kind of winner stays on thing. And we would do winner stays on for fucking hours. And that is the first time I remember, and I've spoken about getting into that kind of like fighting game mindset of like learning stuff, iterating what you're doing, working out what your opponent's doing, all that kind of stuff. Soul Calibur 2 is the first time I recall actually actively getting into that mindset.
Yeah.
And I can pinpoint the moment it happened as well, because my friend Callum was sat there for fucking ages just beating everybody with bullshit. And so that ended up with about 5 of us trying to work out how to beat Callum's bullshit. And we would try different characters, we would try different moves, we would try all that. And we were collectively like workshopping how to beat our friend who was having a whale of a time continually beating us. And so like I've got these really fond memories of actually like labbing a fighting game with a group of people, which is really good fun. And then you add in the fact that, you know, you have Link in there as a bonus character who is literally bringing projectiles to a sword fight. And yet none of us were like, oh, let's just play as Link. We were all just like trying to like get into the nitty gritty of like, no, we could play as Link, but we're not going to play as Link. We're going to beat you properly. And until it happens, we're not going anywhere. So yeah, I've got really, really fond memories of Soul Calibur 2. And it still has a very, very special place in my heart. And it's not been surpassed in the series. I know, like, quite often I will sit here and talk about older games and go, yeah, but the later game in the series kind of surpassed it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Soul Calibur 2 is still the peak. Like, they never beat it. It is so, so good. And it all just hangs together so well. And that's even before you get into the single player mode that plays like a fucking RPG or something like that, or a choose your own adventure sometimes as well. And all of the customization options and stuff like that you have for various combinations of weapons and all that. So like it does a heck of a lot.
I am a sucker for a nostalgic story, such as that. And the thing is, as well,
No, not fighting good and evil in
no-
Antiquity, Japan.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
sitting on the floor of Michael's house trying to beat Callum's bullshit. That's where it is.
that's much more relatable. Like, it's in, you know.
But you could have been a spiritual monk, Rich.
I know, I could have, but I wasn't. I was too busy trying to beat Callum's bullshit.
Jade Empire is far too good for us.
Ripping limbs off. Jesus.
Yeah,
How different you could have turned out.
I'm fine
doing
with
things the hard way all the time.
I'm fine with seeing Soul Calibur 2 through in this circumstance. That's probably the first toughest one I think that we've come across where it's like, you know, any one of those three, you go, that'd be I'd be down with that. But yeah, I think that's a great story. Right, okay. None of us have played the PlayStation 2 game at number 10, which I'm shocked about. Kind of, I think. God of War 2 is in there. 2007 that game came out, so late in the PS2's lifespan. Versus Mario Kart Double Dash and Crimson Skies, again, a game that nobody has played.
Yeah, is that like a flight sim type shooting thing?
Yes, it's a flight game, and it kind of not. I wouldn't want to call it open world person, but you can get out of the plane. And do exploring and stuff like that. So
I vaguely remember a plane on the box, and that's all I got.
Again, something else that is, I think you can get it for like £3 on, you know, digitally on Xbox Store, and I just haven't picked it up yet. But I've been intrigued ever since I've been sort of researching this pod. I've been intrigued and looking into it because it's like, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, what a brilliant original Xbox game!" So
almost like Pilot Wings or something.
I think there's a bit more than that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Whilst we've not played two of these games, I think that the third game that we have played is Mario Kart Double Dash, and the score given by IGN is 7.9. That is not my favourite Mario Kart.
No,
not that it's bad. It's still fun, and it's got the cool dynamic, obviously, of being able to swap, and the multiplayer, you know, one person being, you know, the dude with the weapons and one being the driver kind of thing and stuff. And there's a lot to it, and it's great that they tried something different. I'd be happier to see one of the other games probably go through than that one, probably. But obviously not playing them, it's difficult for us to say, isn't it? But
I mean, I think I might have God of War 2 floating around somewhere.
We should read the back of the box and be like, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
But I mean, like, it's one of those ones that, like, I've not played it to be able to talk about it with any degree of confidence, but I've played enough other bits of other God of War games to go like, well, God of War is still going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Any which way you cut it. Kind of like Mario Kart, you know, it's like pizza. Bad pizza still all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for me it would be God of War or Mario Kart, but like Double Dash is definitely not particularly high on my.
Yeah.
Like if you lined up all the Mario Karts and said play one, I'm probably not picking Double Dash.
Mm-hmm.
If you lined up all the God of Wars in front of me, I might go for two.
Yeah.
I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't.
I mean, the original trilogy are getting remastered, aren't they? That is, got announced at the State of Play last week. So I think that at one point in my life, I will sit down and just play through all the God of War games. That I sit, you know, and just kind of like see where they sit, because it's such a highly regarded, critical darling, and you know, commercially as well and stuff. That is, I think it's hard to push against. And again, you can kind of see where the games that come later in the PS2 lifespan, you know, do so well and have. Whilst PS2 was aging at that point and also surpassed pretty much, like, you know, we talk about having the PS3 out at that point, like those games that are coming at the end of the lifespan or sort of the 2005 onwards and stuff, they just really perform, you know, to the, I guess, the gamer's eye really well. So, let's go for God of War 2 there, I think. Mm-hmm. And unless, Kyle, you're that fussed about having a conversation about any of the others at all, or...
No, I'm a sucker for a bit of lore. God of War would be
exactly, yeah.
God of Law.
Yeah.
God of Law.
Fucking hell.
19.
Right, okay.
Make it happen, internet.
In at number 9, Okami, which is again has had a recent remaster. Rich, you have played that on the PS2. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader. I have not played that, but I know quite a bit about it, and I know that enough to know that you love it. Rich, and Jet Set Radio Future. None of us have played that. I never really hear that necessarily being the Jet Set Radio that everybody is in love with. We had a pretty poor review of Jet Set Radio recently.
That was probably user issues more than anything else. I don't think I was quite meeting it on its level.
Yeah, not that that's got anything against Jet Set Radio Future. It is a game that I would love to play at some point, but again, that's currently delisted in digital stores, I believe. So, not that won't be accounted for. But of the two that are, and funnily enough, all three of these games were rated 9.1 from IGN on the nose. The two games that you've played, then, Rich, is there any that jump out to you to say that this is the one over the other?
Yeah, I think so. Akami's got a great art style. I think it was made by Capcom. He says losing all confidence. But point is, fun art style plus we'll assume Capcom plus unusual combat where you're using the paintbrush for moves and all that kind of stuff. It's going to get my attention. However, I think for me it's going to be Rogue Squadron 2 because that was, how nowadays you kind of, God, I'm going to sound like such a fucking jaded old man. You look at a new console, you pick it up and you're like, oh, I'm waiting for that, this is the next gen kind of moment. And I know we've said it before now about PS5 and stuff like that. And you're like, well, it was such a blur between the generations. It never really felt like it happened.
Yeah.
Rogue Squadron 2 was when I realized, oh, this is the next generation thing. And it was that kind of, it was the Star Destroyer fight.
Yeah.
I think it was the fourth or fifth mission in, and just the sea of laser fire as you're approaching this massive vessel from however far away, and it just gets closer and closer, and you can pinpoint it as, oh, this is what the next generation looks like, and yeah, it looks great, plays great. I think that's probably where I'm going to put my money for this one.
The book that I bought when I was at Leeds Gaming Market was the 50 best boss fights ever. One of them, even though it's not a boss fight, is the Star Destroyer fight in Rogue Squadron, because it feels like one. That is, and you've got to take down 2 Star Destroyers.
Yeah, you struggle to get past one and all this kind of stuff. And the number of sweeps you have to do to get various bits and bobs off it. And it does feel like a proper protracted fight.
Yeah, and I think that the only thing that pissed me off about this game was the fact that I wish they'd named it something different. I just feel like they could have named it something different. But the fact that it's almost a day one-ish, that is, I think it's a month and a half after the GameCube was released, and it's there, initially, and like you say, you get that generational leap in your mind where you're like, holy shit, this is what this does.
Yeah.
We're now in the 2000s.
My N64 could not have done this.
I think that's a fair one. Kyle, you got any input on any of those three at all that you've not played?
Pew, space lasers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean, that is basically what I was getting at.
You like Star Wars, don't you? So we all like Star Wars. We'll discover that a little bit further up the list, I think. So next on the list, in at number 8, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, which I have played. Pikmin 2. Nobody's played Pikmin 2, even though you said you played Pikmin 1. And I think both of you have played Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 3 on the Xbox.
I have also played Gran Turismo 3.
Oh, sorry, have
definitely...
you? Did I not?
No, I've probably just screwed you up there, sorry.
No, don't worry, it's fine. I mean, you can...
I'm going to blame my eyesight.
No, it's fine. So, having to think about those two then, Kyle, that you are in the point where you've played Gran Turismo 3 then, and also Rainbow Six 3. Did any of those games stand out against each other at all?
I would probably lean towards Rainbow Six.
Okay.
Similar reasons to what Rich was saying about Soul Calibur. I've got a lot of memories of sitting down with a group of friends and being the squad.
Nice.
And trying to get through that game. Basically, on every mode. And I feel quite harsh saying that because Gran Turismo 3 at the time was a stunning game. for people who like cars and like racing, it was absolutely peak. But that's just not my jam. I like a racing game, but like I'm not a pure racer, so I don't think I could put beauty above substance in a game for me, if you see what I mean.
I mean, we've just recently reviewed Gran Turismo 4. The royal we, Rich. And I said at the time that I'd played Gran Turismo 3, but certainly you give Gran Turismo 4 a 9 out of 10. I don't necessarily remember GT3 sticking its claws in me as much as it sounds like GT4 didn't, and a similar sort of thing, but I'm not, as you aren't, Kyle, that is not like sort of, the super car petrol head kind of person, so it might be something that and also, like I say, I'm a sucker for listening to memories about people gathering around a certain game and playing as a squad. And I remember Rainbow Six being the perfect sort of game to do that with in any iteration. Rich, you got any input on that sort of thing?
I mean, I've got similar memories to you for Rainbow Six 3. Funnily enough, like there was definitely a good period there where we'd fire it up and muck about. I think if I picked Gran Turismo 3 for this, it would be because Gran Turismo 4's not on the list.
Yeah. Funnily enough, the game's radar list had GT4.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that would have been... But
I think it's
by the by, isn't it?
I do wonder how much of it is hindsight. I get the impression that 4 has kind of developed a bit of a following over the years, whereas 3 at the time was the one that everybody went for. But I've got nothing to back that up. I think Rainbow Six 3 for me with that one.
I'm absolutely fine with that. I think that's probably a good choice. Pikmin 2, none of us have played it. Sorry, Pikmin. I think it developed, a bit more on the first one, obviously, in terms of mechanics and stuff. But
Getting the C.
Yeah, getting the C. Fuck off, Olimar. In at 7, I am shocked to see that none of us have played Final Fantasy X.
Right, so there is a bit of an asterisk.
Yeah,
with that
I
one.
thought there would be.
Yeah.
I've got an asterisk actually on the fucking spreadsheet, but I thought there was, because I swear you've mentioned that you've done something.
I've been in the room when my wife has played through most of it.
Okay, wait.
So I've not played it myself. I've kind of played it by proxy.
I'm gonna just put proxy now. I'm gonna put a little Y there because you've seen. I mean, when we did our Final Fantasy podcasts, I think we talked about it, and I'm sure you did say at the time that it's something you'd like to play, but you've seen Fiona play it that much that actually it might not be something you do get around to. Alongside Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube that myself and Rich has played, and then Fable that I believe all of us have played. Have you not played, Rich?
I've played Fable 2.
Okay, fair enough.
I was struggling to remember if I played Fable 1.
I think Fable 2 maybe has, for most people, stronger memories, but no. But and then Kyle's shaking his head.
Definitely
in audio format.
Definitely.
I mean, I played Fable 2 first, and then I went back to Fable Anniversary. If I'm going to be honest, that was just the way that fell for me.
Was Fable 2 Xbox 360? Like, am I imagining that wrong?
I think it was Xbox
3. Maybe I'm thinking 3.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Maybe it is 360. That is hard to. Kyle's going to look that up. While Kyle looks it up, should we talk?
Your recall, sir. Whatever your life management plan is right now. Honestly.
Oh, I've impressed myself with that one.
So, should we talk Super Mario Sunshine first? Obviously, a little bit of a different, feels different from the Mushroom Kingdom, and also you've got the Flood backpack, but it almost feels like the Pokemon where they went to the Aloha or whatever region, and it's almost like you get the Pokemon that have got an extra flower on them, or have a different sort of like tiki painting on their back and things. That feels like the Mario version of this almost, in so much that it's just let's do something a bit different and send it to a different location and give them a little bit of a different dynamic with that flood mechanism. I've played through this quite recently actually, and not all the way through. I've played probably say about 50% of it, but really enjoyed it, and I didn't feel like it missed a beat from a Mario game. Did I enjoy it more or less than Super Mario Galaxy, which is kind of like the next one after this, the Wii sort of one? I think less. I don't think it's necessarily. yeah, I think that it probably is one of the weaker 3D Marios, but it's still very, very good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, like, for me, it kind of falls into the same bracket as Mario Kart Double Dash, where, like, if you line them all up and told me to pick one, this is probably not the one I'm picking. Like, it's good, but yeah, I'm like probably going for a Galaxy or a Galaxy 2. So I think, yeah, for my money's worth, I'm probably gonna give Final Fantasy the nod, because, like, sure, I've not played it myself, but as has been discussed, like, me and Final Fantasy, there is definitely a bit of a appreciation there, and ultimately, if it's from the series where I walked down the aisle to part of the theme, then I should probably give that the nod.
Yeah. I mean, Carl's going to say Fable, so
don't give me that look. Oh yeah, I walked down the aisle to the Final Fantasy.
No, I'm just wondering how much influence Fee's having on this conversation. How much trouble you'd be in not picking that particular.
There was very little friction on the discussion at all. It was a joint effort.
You blink twice if you need help.
I'm so excited for the Fable remake.
I am excited and also horrendously nervous at the same time, because it's obviously been a very long time, and we've discussed how shit my recall is now, but I have probably, of any game I've ever played, the fondest memories of Fable. And the reason for it was a role-playing game that it's probably the only non-serious role-playing game I think that I've ever played. Everything was tongue-in-cheek. The fact that you were wandering around with people just with horrendous Cornish and Devon accents, like yelling stuff at you as you go. Everybody remembers Fable 2 because you got a dog.
Yeah.
But the actual content and what Fable, the original, did is much more, in my opinion, than Fable 2. And it was probably the first game as well where, like, in a similar way to games like KOTOR, where the good and evil had a lot of... The choices that you made had a lot of impact on the game.
Yeah.
And it was quite a nice little visual mechanic in that for how good or evil you would be. And in a weird kind of way, there is a really crappy but really fun game that I've gone back to so many times called Dungeon Defenders. And it's a tower defense game, and it's pretty modern. It's like only a couple of years old. But the reason why I like it so much is because it reminds me of Fable. And there have been so many games I've gone back to because it's that sort of, like, everybody loves to be the hero or the villain, right? But it's that, like, comic book style to it that I don't think anybody's ever done well again.
Fair.
And
maybe because, you know, I like a bit of British tongue-in-cheek humour.
Up your arsenal. It's tough because I think, speaking on those then, I think that you say probably between Final Fantasy X and Fable. I would love to play Final Fantasy X at some point, and I probably will do that on the Vita, I think, at some point for the podcast, because I really want to, and it feels like a good place to do it with X2. But yeah, I fucking love Fable. I really do. Like, for somebody that didn't not grow up, certainly, but I remember, like I said, you know, way back when at the start of the podcast, talking about not having an Xbox, but I got an Xbox. I got one for dirt cheap towards the end of its life cycle to play Fable, to play Halo, to play Halo 2, to play all the big hitters, and just sort of like spent so much time just being in love with Fable and then Fable 2. And like I say, I only really got into. I think I played Fable 2 more probably, and then played Fable Anniversary. But yeah, that isn't. I remember having a like sort of a go of Fable, and yeah, like you say, just like the British sort of the Shire situation, but then also like as in, you know, like having so many little sort of dynamics with the good and evil thing. You know, yeah, so much fun.
Do you remember a game that has ever and this is going to be, I'm not sure Rich's recall here will just shoot this down as soon as I say it.
Wouldn't count on it.
But I don't think there are that many games out there, and I think this is part of the allure of Fable, that it literally takes you from being a child, something happens to you, and you play out that whole story. And I think that that's part of the charm, maybe because of the age that I was and the age that we were, of you start the game at the age that we were at the time, so it was like immediately associatable. Is that a word?
Yeah,
that's a word.
Yeah, it is now.
Good.
Moral wank. Does Zoe Wanamaker do the voiceover for the first Fable?
I think she was involved somewhere on. I think Stephen Fry did a voice somewhere as well.
Yeah, such a good cast.
Yeah, it's so good. Sorry, Fable. Sorry, Final Fantasy X. Jeez, that's like
and I didn't say anything about Final Fantasy X, and I'm sorry for that.
No,
but I have so much respect for it. I just cannot put it above Fable.
No, that is completely understandable.
Fair. Okay, I mean, at this point, though, we are just knocking out favourites. You know, this is an interesting bracket, actually, I think, because it's...
Why is Animal Crossing in here?
Because Animal Crossing was the biggest phenomenons ever, I think, really, that is in a certain group of gamers. Rich loves to tell us about that. So...
I want to know who this group of gamers are standing up for top spin.
Fucking watch and learn, my friend.
Who is standing up for top spin? Why is this in this list?
Silent Hill 2 on the PS2 obviously had a really big remake recently. Animal Crossing for the GameCube, and Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher's Bay, a licensed game. You know, like quite high up on the list. That again, Rich has played. So Rich versus Rich versus Rich.
Go Rich.
Tell us which one goes through in front of the position 6.
Final Fantasy X.
This is why this is fun, because they would never be considered as enemies anywhere else on the internet. And here we are, Animal Crossing
only here
versus Silent Hill versus fucking Riddick.
Right. Let's start with Silent Hill 2. Obviously, highly regarded survival horror, creepy as fuck. Does a lot of psychology stuff.
I thought you said we were starting with Silent Hill 2, not Animal Crossing.
Well, you've stolen my joke, because Animal Crossing
Sorry.
Basically does the same stuff, just with a slightly different veneer. Animal Crossing, however, one of the only games I've ever purchased jointly with a friend of mine. Me and my friend Tim chipped in together to buy Animal Crossing because it needed its own memory card.
Yeah. I love when that shit happens.
Yeah, which is fine.
Halves.
But
go halves and share.
Then we found out the hard way that it just it has to really, really remember what's on that memory card, and they get really pissy when it's not not there, and the game tells you that it's annoyed with you.
There's a ball going crazy somewhere.
So we're two people playing the same character and stuff like that, and I will come back to that. Chronicles of Riddick is good. I played the Xbox 360 version more, that was with Assault on Dark Athena.
Yes, yeah.
And you were saying earlier on about first-person melee stuff, and this does that really, really well. Bit more linear than something like when you say first-person melee, I always think of Skyrim and Elder Scrolls. So it's a lot more linear than anything like that, but certainly on the Xbox looked good. And played well. Really, really engaging. I don't think it's winning this particular bracket. So for me, it's between Silent Hill 2 and Animal Crossing. Silent Hill 2, the big caveat is that I played the maligned Xbox 360 version that removed all the fog. And it was still, the bits of it that I played, still a good game. I really, really want to go back and play the PS2 version at some point and kind of, quote-unquote, do it properly.
Yeah.
But I am a wuss. So I think actually Animal Crossing would win for me here.
I thought this
mainly
might be the case.
Because when we got it, we played it for a bit. We did the usual, getting to town, setting things up, all that kind of stuff, putting in the funny names and all that kind of stuff. And then you realise that you're basically in debt to a loan shark, and you start having conversations with people, and they start saying things and doing things that are just kind of unsettling and a bit anywhere between needy and outright psychotic and stuff like that. And you get into this frame of mind with it where you start reading into stuff, and it's very, very easy to fall into some kind of weird, sinister rabbit hole with that game. And then you add in the fact that, like, because the console's got a clock on it, which obviously at that point you like hadn't had one that did that, and you come back a week later because it's been stuck at your friend Tim's house, and there's weeds everywhere. In your town, you're like, well, Tim, haven't you done the weeding? It's like, well, no, I've been doing things. You're like, well,
been at school, man.
Why have we got weeding to do? And then you spend like an hour doing that, and then
in year 9, fuck off.
Someone's moved in, someone's moved away, and like there's another one that we picked it up after a couple of months or something like that, and we were getting letters from people that moved in that were like, oh, hello, and then moved away again, and we're like, oh, so sad to see you go, and you're just going through these other lives that happened when you weren't looking and shit like that. And it's like, this is fucking terrifying.
So cool.
And yeah, like nothing has, at that point at least, nothing had really given me that kind of narrative agency. You know, I never felt like I was imprinting myself on the story, such as it is, as much as I was with Animal Crossing. And there wasn't even a story to it. You're just trying to pay off a loan shark. And yet there we were, like, reading into all this stuff, and just like, this whole like narrative experience unfurled before us, and it was all stuff that we were reading into it. And it was only like years later, when you're getting onto playing like Battlefield online with your friends against other people doing random shit, that you get that kind of emergent storytelling stuff going on. Animal Crossing was the first time that I'd really kind of experienced that firsthand. And yeah, so it's definitely got a special spot.
I'm so sold on that. The idea of like 2 13-year-old boys just being like, you know, I would say more terrified by the idea of like life chores than Silent Hill 2.
Well, yeah, that is basically what it boils down to. Socializing and life skills. And like getting an absolute bollocking from a mole when you don't turn the console off without saving and stuff like that. And it's like, you will lose your progress because I'll fucking delete it and stuff like that. And it felt like the game was so aware that you were there. It was fucking terrifying.
Yeah. It does something completely different from the other 2 games in this list here, where, yes, they, you know, as good as Chronicles of Riddick will have been, and as lauded as Silent Hill 2 is as a horror game, and then obviously has then been lauded again recently, to hear what the mechanics are around Animal Crossing. Like, no, I'm not saying it's definitely the same as like the Psycho Mantis, but that's so...
It's that level, though, of like fourth wall shattering, like unsettling.
And that's spoke about so
like
often.
Metal Gear Solid 2, when Roy Campbell, spoilers, like starts going, wigging out as AI and all that kind of stuff, and you are actually playing at like 3 a.m. or whatever, and he starts telling you to turn the console off because you've been playing too long.
Much to Kyle's bewilderment, Animal Crossing moves on. And it's in position number 6.
In all fairness, I think that based on Rich's explanation, I should have probably given it a go.
There's still
Whereas
time.
I just looked at it and went, oh, fuck, it's Tamagotchi on GameCube.
Well, that's it.
That
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
I couldn't even keep my Tamagotchi alive for 10 minutes.
Animal Crossing has a fucking sinister belly, man. Like, it's nuts.
In at 5, Roy Campbell has his work cut out for him in Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, versus The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which none of us has put down that we've played.
No.
You got remade on the Wii, didn't it?
I think something like
that. And Ninja Gaiden, which Rich, you've played, and you said that you were going to be quite effusive about previously.
Fuck yeah.
Are you more... I'm going to say, guessing who you are and doing 150 podcasts with you, that you would be more effusive about it than any of the other 2 on this list, especially one that we've not played before. But Metal Gear Solid 2 is just that's what's the only thing.
The thing with Metal Gear Solid 2 though is that it's not Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
Which I think is an important point to mention at this point.
And that is bore out on the list. It's not as high
exactly.
As that, so.
And whereas Ninja Gaiden, like, it kind of, there's a definite through thread for what I was saying about Devil May Cry 3. A lot of it, you know, kind of applies in a weird way to Ninja Gaiden. Like, it is different. It plays different to Devil May Cry. But for the immediacy of the combat, the speed of it, the level of creativity you can have with it, the way it looks, the number of fucking re-releases it's had, all that stuff, like, Yeah, it's really, really good. Arguably, you could say that one of the other Ninja Gaiden games would probably do better in that place.
Yeah.
If you fast forwarded the list a little bit and included the Xbox 360 generation, all that kind of stuff. But Ninja Gaiden is up there for me. I think Black is probably the version of it that would definitely get a nod. But I mean, that obviously Metal Gear Solid 2, you can have a strong argument for it. It is good. It plays well. Raiden, don't know how we feel about that.
Just that was it. Just that one out there. Cool. Everyone knows that Raiden's best game is Rise and Revengeance, surely.
Exactly. But let's be honest, that game doesn't happen without Metal Gear Solid 2.
No.
So yeah, I think for me personally, knowing what we know now about Metal Gear Solid and how the rest of the series plays out and its strong points and its not, I think I would vote Ninja Gaiden still, but I'm not going to be heartbroken if it goes another way.
Kyle, anything to put in on any of these?
So I didn't say that I played Ninja Gaiden, but that was a bit of a fib.
Okay.
I didn't play the full game. I played demos of the game. And what I can tell you, and this is probably revealing of like how my brain works, and particularly at that age, but I thought that it was too much. It was too complicated for me.
Okay.
But I could see that it would be a really good game, just not one that I was willing to invest in.
Yeah, fair enough.
Time.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's because I had other stuff going on, like never finishing Morrowind.
Morrowind.
Maybe that's why I never finished it.
Yeah. How stupid are we going to feel if it turns out it is called Morrowind?
It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
Super. I'm going to go and change every fucking Wikipedia entry right now.
And probably keep them lifted up for another year, just like funding it. Like £2 changes all the time. But if I was going to pick one of these three, I would pick that.
Yeah.
In the same kind of way, because it's something that I intended to go at, thought it looked great, but I just didn't have the time.
Yeah. It is a bit of an investment. I think Metal Gear Solid 2, like, it's kind of it's cinema, isn't it?
Yeah, it was absolutely mind blowing to see that game. To play. I think the best part, and this is why I'm happy to have Ninja Gaiden move forward. Because there is a better Metal Gear Solid game on the list later on, whether or not that wins its category or not. And this is, in fact, and there is also a better Legend of a Zelda game, probably, I would say, later on, going up against a better Metal Gear Solid game, which will be interesting. So one of them is going to lose out, maybe. The only thing about Metal Gear Solid 2 was, I would say, the best part of ever playing Metal Gear Solid 2 was playing the demo, or just playing the
first time.
Yeah, exactly, and just the absolute thrill of that. And even after that, it's still brilliant, but nothing will ever top that. And I think that that can't be said of Metal Gear Solid 3, that you just the whole way through, like it's stunning. Whereas Metal Gear Solid 2, you have that first time, and then I think there is a bit of a cliff where you're kind of like, I'm enjoying myself less now, and everyone knows it's gonna ride it. But so Ninja Gaiden for me, I think absolutely fine. Let's do it. Right, okay. This is a really fun one. And I don't know why I've been looking forward to this one the most, even though it doesn't make any sense. Resident Evil 4 in at number 4 on the PS2 versus Resident Evil 4 in at number 4 for the GameCube versus Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on the Xbox. Right. Don't say loads and loads and loads, Kyle, because you're going to come on and do a Knights of the Old Republic podcast in May.
Christ.
Okay, so don't sell all your material down the river now.
No.
I have also not played it yet, but I will have done at that point. So, with all that in mind, which is the best Resident Evil out of the two, and therefore which one would you pit against Knights of the Old Republic in this circumstance? I've not played any of them yet, and I know that everyone goes, like Resident Evil, you need to play Resident Evil 4. I really do want to.
Yeah, you need to play Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, thank you. Fuck, you know.
Well, yeah.
No, well, but that's the thing. I have played 1, 2, and 3. I just I just never got around to 4, and that's obviously when the series becomes like what it is now.
Household name.
Yes, exactly. And I think that it's just, as usual, just one of those cliffs that I just don't want to climb yet. Like it's in the Leon Kennedy cliff. So let's start with the idea then. Rich, you've played PS2 Resident Evil and also GameCube. Have you played both versions?
I've got more time in on the GameCube one.
Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, I will be fighting the GameCube corner.
Okay, cool. Let's do that then. So GameCube Resident Evil 4, which I think probably from what I've seen on online discussions and stuff, is actually the best of the original Resident Evil 4s anyway, versus Knights of the Old Republic. Who's going home, boys? Because I don't give a shit and it's brilliant.
Well, given that this is Rich's house, probably me.
It's true, I do live here.
Physically, yes. Metaphysically, who's going home? Like, out of these two games, these two titans of the industry would be what I would say.
Yeah.
Who wants to kick one of these guys out of bed?
I mean, we're going to try each way, aren't we? So I'll just
Rich
have the floor first, and then he can.
Yeah.
I mean,
discuss them. I mean, I could decide between. I mean, I don't want to because that'll be terrifying for me. But
so all right. So
okay, let's do it.
Resident
Debate
Evil
club.
4.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. Resident Evil 4. I do not have much in the way of like nostalgic stories about it. It's not like I was there with my friends playing it through and taking it in turns or whatever. This was the first Resident Evil game I played ever. Because prior to that, where there was a bit of an emphasis on zombies when I was a little bit younger and getting nightmares looking at pictures of it in N64 magazine and all that kind of stuff, I just avoided it like the plague, ironically enough.
You weren't old enough to play it anyway,
Yeah, and by Resident Evil 4, I probably still wasn't old enough to play it, but I was old enough and there was more of an action emphasis that I felt that I could. Yeah. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So rather than sitting with friends and playing it through, I was there on my own, playing a Resident Evil game like a big boy. So that was kind of cool.
Sorry, I don't find that so funny. Like a big boy.
But like, there was just something about being able to actually go in and have this like third person over the shoulder shooter type spin on Resident Evil 4, like in Resident Evil 4 rather. There had been a lot of talk about how much it changed the formula and all that kind of stuff. And like, while I hadn't played much in the Resident Evils beforehand, I knew enough to know how they played and how much of a jump this was.
Okay.
And I think, well, I don't know if this is accurate, but to my mind, the way that it plays as a third-person action-adventure game with the kind of over-the-shoulder camera and all that kind of stuff was incredibly influential. I get the impression that a lot of games afterwards riffed on what it was doing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, oh yeah, it was definitely the first one that did all this stuff, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But I'm pretty sure it was one of the major ones that popularized it. And I'm pretty sure that, like, even just the way that it handled aiming and stuff like that, I think it helped codify a lot of stuff that, you're getting to the more sophisticated, like GTA 4s and all that kind of stuff. And that period of, like, open world, third person shooting type stuff. I think this helped put a lot of the building blocks of that in place. And because it showed how solid and fun you could have it. Especially when, the enemies you're shooting are going to react in certain ways depending on where they get hit. And you can use that to, like, a tactical advantage and all that kind of stuff. And then you add in all the Resident Evil goodness of item management and all that kind of stuff.
Feels like Dead Space wouldn't exist without this.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing, where like it's. I think it went on to be incredibly influential in its way.
Yeah.
However, like, it's not without flaws. Like a not insignificant chunk of it is basically an escort mission that, they're never fun.
Fucking Ashley. That's why I don't want to play it,
Well, I mean, I understand that. But like any game that's going to feel the need to market itself with a fucking chainsaw controller is either A, on the one hand, fucking cool, or B, fucking stupid.
Bring on the rig.
It's not a fucking rig, is it? It's just not.
But this is the thing. Like, I think if it ultimately for me and for how I appreciate games and all that kind of stuff, I kind of don't care if it's cool or stupid.
Yeah.
It can be both, and I think Resident Evil 4 is both.
It probably is both.
Considering the campiness, the enemies, and all that kind of stuff that you come up against, like it was great to have that light bulb moment of like, wait, these games are fucking stupid, and suddenly find myself really enjoying them.
Yeah. But also helped you to be able to play the game because then you weren't terrified of it as well.
Well,
like,
frankly,
just added that little extra thing that made it
that moment of discovery that made it accessible, and therefore made the rest of the series accessible. Beyond that. And so in that respect, it is kind of important to me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've not sat here and like got dozens of hours on every single game in the series and all that kind of stuff, but it did mean that I've developed a new appreciation for the series.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that. Kyle, KOTOR?
How deep do you want the argument?
Well, as deep as Rich just made his, but also not so deep that we can't have a podcast about it in about 3 months' time.
Okay, well, shall I just start with design your own motherfucking Jedi?
It's as deep as it needs to go, is it?
Do they have to fuck their mothers? Is that optional?
Don't they all?
I'm just checking.
The
old Jedi mind trick.
Anyway, moving on from Rich's diversion. KOTOR is another game that has a really special place in my heart. It was probably, and I believe, it was the first time anybody had tried to make a role-playing game in the Star Wars universe. So much so that it spanned a whole online game, which is also called Knights of the Old Republic, but is an entirely separate thing.
Yeah.
And it was from a developer that, prior to this, had developed Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Neverwinter Nights, things of that kind of ilk, that have then gone on to influence, Baldur's Gate 3 has come out recently, which is a bit of a rehash of it and whatever else. But all of these things have such a cult following. And whilst not everybody's into the Star Wars universe, I feel like KOTOR is still in that kind of realm of, it's a different Baldur's Gate or a different Neverwinter Nights. But it also laid the groundwork for Mass Effect, which is probably one of the most popular and, most visually different, and in terms of the universe that it was in, especially at the time, like so different. And then it, what we were saying about Fable earlier, like again, it was another one of those ones where there was such a focus on good versus evil, and it really gave you that opportunity not long after episode 1 had come out to be like, I want a purple fucking lightsaber. And
that was such a thing, wasn't it, in this?
And I'm going to stab everybody in the village. But in a turn-based manner. I don't think they have made as good a Star Wars game, as in like a person-based Star Wars game rather than a vehicle-based Star Wars game, since KOTOR.
Try and keep this succinct. Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
Do you think this is the best Star Wars game ever made?
I would struggle to argue otherwise.
I think that you do.
Yeah. I think, like, personally, there are definitely ones that I've played more of, but for actual, like, demonstrably and objectively better. Yeah, I think I would struggle to.
I love Battlefield. I look like, but you can jump in, jump out of those. It's an entirely different
this
kind
is all
of
consuming.
thing.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I've definitely played more of Battlefield, but yeah, in terms of actual, you are driving the plot type Star Wars. I think you've got a point.
They're both so influential, like on the video games. I feel like Resident Evil's really influential on video games, and I feel like Star Wars is possibly the most influential cultural thing that's ever existed ever. Even, and then you throw in the best video game of that. It's so hard.
It's a pretty compelling argument.
Yeah,
that one. If I'm being honest,
Like even KOTOR 2 is not as good as KOTOR 1.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
And that came so much later as well. But it is. It's. How groundbreaking is it?
Let's just make this easy, and it's not to reduce both those amazing arguments down, but I'm choosing to play.
Get your rig.
I'm choosing to play KOTOR before Resident Evil 4.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point.
But
like, just like...
but the other thing to bear in mind is, like, at least with Resident Evil, like, you've got Resident Evil Remake on this list as well, and that's a very different flavor of Resident Evil.
Yeah,
like that they've reinvented it and changed it and moved it on a couple of times, whereas KOTOR is still KOTOR.
Yeah.
I've gone back and played it. What did I put it on?
I mean, it's been on everything, isn't it?
I ported it on, I ported it onto Xbox One, and I first played it on PC.
Yeah.
And yes, the graphics and everything are janky and whatever else, but weirdly, we haven't moved on very far from the principles of that gameplay.
Yeah, the mechanics and the way it all hangs together is still very... Because as soon as you mentioned Mass Effect as well, it's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like, it's very much using those bones still.
Awesome. Right, cool. So, Resident Evil 4. Now, the funny thing about Resident Evil 4 would have been, if it would have been in here, for example, in the PS2, like, is in slot, for example, it probably would have won. And it's just like, but we're not doing that. We're here to do stupid and ancient.
Resident Evil 4 probably would have won in most other lines on the spreadsheet.
So
Can't
we're
be a fucking Jedi then.
No, that is true.
So we're into the top 3 now then. So PS2, Shadow of the Colossus, we spoke about previously. Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Weirdly, we have a relationship with all of these games somewhere on the podcast. I played Splinter Cell Chaos Theory on the PS2, which then got mulliganed the shit down by Rich in our...
The PS2 version is wank.
Yeah, but the Xbox version...
is not wank.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good. We always say that, but it's not Super Smash Bros. Melee, doesn't matter what game it is.
Ain't.
But it ain't Melee. And then Shadow of the Colossus, I have no respect for that game and its art form.
Well, you're wrong.
And I am wrong because everybody else says that they're right, and that's fine. But
but it ain't Melee. But it ain't Smash Bros.
But it isn't a massive giant hand smashing the shit out of you while you're trying to fucking get to the end of that game. All 3 of these games are absolute bangers.
I really like Chaos Theory, right? But it's not my personal favourite Splinter Cell.
Oh, is it not?
No.
Oh, you like
I like Conviction. I'm one of those sickos.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I've made peace with it. Shadow of the Colossus I also really, really like. Smash Bros. Melee, when we weren't playing Soul Calibur 2 in this era, we were playing Melee. And I ended up buying a GameCube because the Poker Floats level from Melee was not in Smash Bros. Ultimate. If that was in there, I wouldn't have bought a fucking GameCube to play Smash Bros. Melee. I love that game. Yeah, I always have done, and I always will.
I've got no problem with getting through that one quite quickly because I really, 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 really enjoy Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I think it's such a wonderful game. I am not fussed for Shadow of the Colossus, rightly or wrongly. I understand. I get it. I get why everyone loves that game, but it can just fuck off for me. That's the easiest way to say it. I'd much rather, if I was out on a night out, I'd much rather hang out with Smash Bros. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just be like, Smash Bros! Is in Shadow of the Colossus. No, fuck off. Right, okay. In fact, I can see that at a nightclub somewhere, Sam Fisher hanging out in a corner being cool as fuck, James Bondy style. And then, Shadow of the Colossus being the artistic person at the bar with a really cool cocktail. And then me with my Smash Bros, in the middle,
bellowing at each other obnoxiously,
shouting shit in the middle of a dance floor, and I don't care. That makes me a terrible person. It's going in. Smash Bros. Melee has smashed its way through at number 3. In at number 2, I don't know why I bother saying this, but again, another really brilliant set of games facing off against each other. So, Metal Gear Solid 3, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and Halo 2. God, it feels so difficult to choose between these 3 games. Anyone want to speak first and then find out if they're right or wrong?
Yeah, I will fuck around and find out.
Will you now?
Smash Bros. Melee!
Wind Waker's got a really cool art style, right? And I will always give props for that. is solid from what I've played. Not as solid as Metal Gear Solid 3, which is the solidest of solid games.
Solid.
It is very, very solid. It's really, really good. I will, happily die on the hill about Metal Gear Solid 3 being the best Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Lot of fond memories of playing it and replaying 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 it. Wind Waker, I have yet to complete once.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, ultimately, that is what it is boiling down to. Like, they're all good. Halo 2 as well. Like, I've played a fair bit of that, but I've never completed it. Wind Waker, played a fair bit, never completed it. Metal Gear Solid 3 completed several times and still have moments where I'm climbing ladders and I'm thinking of that theme. Or, trying to shoot the sniper when he's in his wheelchair. And, shit like that. Where, it will just react to what you're doing in a kind of organic way. So, yeah, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 for me.
Kyle?
Master Chief.
You just boil it down to that now.
I don't need a rig because I am the rig.
Get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
cool.
great. I can print t-shirts.
Go on.
But I have not played much, if any, Zelda.
Yeah.
Which is, I understand,
the right
totally
answer.
to my
fine.
detriment.
No.
Metal Gear Solid, I really appreciate, and I would agree that I think that this is the best version of that. But it's just not Halo, and you are not Master Chief. And Halo Combat Evolved obviously was groundbreaking in itself, but there were a lot of shitty bits of it, like the controls and the way it worked, and it was janky. And I love it, but a lot of that was fixed going into Halo 2. So I think that not only is the nostalgia, Halo 2 ultimately was the better game experience.
Okay.
Albeit, I don't think that it knocks Halo Combat Evolved off, because obviously that was just a launch of something entirely different.
Yeah. Okay.
For Halo 2 on OG Xbox, could you dual wield different weapons still, and they were firing on the different controllers?
Yeah.
That wasn't a later thing on the Xbox 360.
No.
Give it to Halo 2. Because
I was running around with a space pistol and a space Uzi.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care.
I know what you're doing though. I know.
But anything that lets you go, you know what, I'm going to have the shotgun pistol in one hand and a pistol in the other, or whatever, and give you that kind of flexibility in combat. I can't think of anything else that does that except the Halo series.
I don't want to give it to Halo 2. I love Halo.
I am Space Gundam.
No, but I don't want Halo 2 to have it. I want Metal Gear Solid 3 to have it.
Well, that's why there's three of us here. You break the vote.
No, but I'm not, because you've shifted. I know why you've shifted though, because I know you.
Eyes on the prize, but
it's bullshit.
But at the same time, there is a strong argument for the fact that Halo 2 irons out a lot of kinks, right? And I get that.
But the kinks are just, plasma grenades are on the white button and shit. You know what I mean? On the shitty, let's not get into Xbox controllers. That is in, man, I would not sleep well not having a Metal Gear Solid game in a PS2 list. That's fine for you guys. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to fucking, I'll be there scratching at some walls, as in fighting some. I mean, I bought a coaster with Metal Gear Solid 3 on. Remember, Kyle? Remember when we went to the gaming fair together? Remember that?
I understand how this is going. It's fine.
I mean, it's not like the list doesn't have a Metal Gear in at all, because we got Twin Snakes in, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
So,
okay.
It does feel if you're taking the whole list. I mean, granted, it's not Metal Gear Solid 3 is still better than Twin Snakes. Let's make that clear.
Okay, yeah, fine, whatever. Fucking Halo 2. Oh my god, I can't really just ring. Good lord. Right, okay.
I mean, at least it's not Halo 4.
No, but the problem is, all that's done is just Rich has then gone, well, we'll just have GTA San Andreas in, when I really wanted Halo in at the top.
Well, you're wrong, because it's San Andreas at number 1. Like, Metroid Prime's good,
okay, so
really
let's just officially call it what it is.
Sorry,
so at rank number 1 then, so we've got Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on the PS2.
Which is winning.
Versus Metroid Prime.
Which is okay.
on the GameCube versus Halo Combat Evolved.
Which is
on
not
the
Halo
Xbox.
2. I think we can all agree.
It's not. But groundbreaking. There was nothing like it that came out at the time.
Metroid Prime. Is that not?
Well, not really, because like Halo's more like a proper console shooter, right? It's like a proper first-person shooter. Metroid Prime is not like a proper first-person shooter.
Okay.
It's more like a first-person explore 'em up that you just happen to be able to shoot things in occasionally. So you're going to be leaning on your lock-on and stuff like that a lot more.
Okay.
Whereas Halo was a lot more like the kind of game that in my head you would always play more on a PC at the time that had managed to somehow get onto a console. So yeah, groundbreaking is definitely the word for it. And obviously San Andreas by that point had already been done a couple of times, by dint of being GTA 3 plus.
That's the thing. I mean, Halo was out 3 years before San Andreas.
But the argument, if you're following that logic, is that San Andreas is the distillation, the refinement of all this. Yeah. Personally, I'm kind of surprised that Vice City isn't on the list.
I think it's just one of those things where it just goes, these lists, they're always going to be like, right, okay, you could get all 3 Grand Theft Autos on there. Do you know what I mean? Like in some vein or form. And it's like, but
like my point is that personally, I would take Vice City over San Andreas. 9 days on 10.
So having...
So by virtue of that argument,
wait a
the
minute.
wrong version of GTA is in this list.
Like, taken on those 3...
I think a lot of people feel that way about it. If
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest.
like-
I think San Andreas, as silly as this sounds, I think it takes itself a bit too seriously. Like it's a Grand Theft Auto game.
Is San Andreas a touch overrated?
Well, I mean, maybe IGN have got it right all along. They never really rated it very well on their rating anyway. That is, and they didn't have it as their, it's probably like the 3rd or 4th worst rated. I mean, it's wrong, but like, is in on this list, that is in that they've given a rating to.
I mean, the PS2 version of San Andreas had what multiplayer that you could do like on the same console, which was kind of fun. Good-ish story, but like in terms of map, in terms of mechanics. I think you could argue that it was a little bit bloated.
I think it is bloated, and things like the gang war situation.
Yes, always having to go back.
I think I honestly think that's bullshit, and I agree with you that I think that Vice City is probably the best form of Grand Theft Auto on the PS2.
It was the sweet spot, I think.
That's why I think Halo should be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I get that.
I'm not. We can't backtrack, but that isn't. I think Halo is significantly. Whilst I understand there are quality of life stuff that appear in Halo 2 and the dual wielding and the sorting out of controls and stuff like that, the number of times that I've completed Halo Combat Evolved in some form, whether that is the newer version, Master Chief Collection, and done it on legendary, like as in like and put all the skulls on and made it as hard as fucking possible. And I am the softest, most vanilla gamer in the entire world, but I will sit there and just die. Just die. Over and over. And grunts will just kick my fucking ass. And I'll be like, I don't care, I'm going to sit behind this rock and use my last bullet to take something out. And I think that you get the same thrill from that as a single player game as you do as a multiplayer game as well. And be able to play it multiplayer, 4-player as well. That is in, I don't know whether you could or couldn't on the original.
I don't think you could.
No, is it 2? Just a split screen.
But it's the first game that I remember being able to play a shooter with a friend. As in, like, play the same story and the same map.
Co-op stuff.
And that was really different. Like, I can't think of anything earlier than I did that on. Beyond the fact that the flood absolutely shit me up at that particular juncture in time.
Yeah. That came from nowhere.
But just for that alone, like, I would sit down, do exactly the same thing, but it'd just be me and my mate, George, and we would just go back to that over and over again. until we ground it out.
It made me covet thy neighbour's wife. That is in so much
Really?
that as in,
Was she good at shooters?
Yeah, she had an Xbox. It just is the only time that I felt like really to the point where I was like, God, I wish I had an Xbox or a PS2. Do you know what I mean? That was probably the only time that I was like,
so
I felt that way.
But I think for, like having Halo 2 and Halo 1 in here, looking at this list, these lists, I think is kind of nicely indicative of everything else, because like you've got take the Resident Evil and Resident Evil remake rather, and Resident Evil 4, or like even what we were saying about the GTA San Andreas situation. In this generation, you've got a lot of stuff that were like major first steps and then refining it and doing it all in one generation. So like GTA 3 to San Andreas via Vice City is a big step and then refining it down. Halo to Halo 2, big step, refining it. So like this generation is actually all about that. So I think having Halo 2 and Halo 1 as your top 1 and 2 kind of encapsulates that kind of nicely.
Yeah. That's all right. Okay. Just do it.
You're just such a nice man, Rich. You were just like, you just want to go.
I could just see the agony etched on his face. You know what? Just give him a kind of poetic win. It's fine. He'll take it.
Win. Fucking hell. Right.
Manipulate the situation.
Keep him coming back for more, or don't, or whatever. Okay. Let's just go through that then. We're not changing anything now. It's happened. So 25, Guitar Hero 2 on the PS2. 24, Spider-Man 2 on the PS2. 23, Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube. 22, Psychonauts on the Xbox. 21, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. That's on the Xbox, but I think that could be easily on the PS2. It's just where it was. 21, was that 21? 21, that was Prince of Persia, sorry. 20, Time Splitters 2. 19, we had... What do we even write down for 19? Good Lord, I can't even see that. Oh, Steel Battalion, get your rig.
Yeah.
18, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. 17, Ico. 16, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. 15, Burnout 3, Takedown. Oh, God, that's such a good run of games. 14, I believe, is Elder Scrolls Morrow, whatever that is. 13, Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening. 12, Katamari Damacy. 11, Soul Calibur 2. 10, God of War 2. 9 is...
Rogue Squadron?
Thank you very much, Rogue Squadron 2. This is really difficult on a spreadsheet. Who'd have thought it? 8, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. 7, Fable. 6, Animal Crossing. 5, Ninja Gaiden. 4, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. 3, Super Smash Bros. Melee. 2, Halo 2, and 1, Halo Combat Evolved. How weird is it that the PS2 started like a freight train for us? Got 9, and then in the top 9, the PS2, we did not vote for a single PS2 game. Nearly all of them went to Xbox games. How interesting.
I mean, I kind of get it. Like, I think a lot of them are ones that you could kind of, or got re-released quicker, if that makes sense. Like, I remember playing quite a few variations on them on the Xbox 360 and stuff like that, and I think it's been a bit more consistent all the way through how much you've been able to play them. Whereas a lot of the PS2 ones you can play now.
Yeah.
But I think there was a good period there where it was a bit trickier.
I mean, and this is all super subjective. Like,
of course it is.
Not once have we given in the N64 versus PS1 or the GameCube versus these guys a Mario game. Do you know what I mean? Every single time Mario games have been defeated, and Zelda games always get defeated like by something else. And it's, we are picking our favourites and darlings that we've played. So it's never going to be fair. And again, the disclaimer: there is no fairness about what we're doing.
Your list will vary.
Yes, exactly. So we're just doing it for a bit of fun, really. It is interesting to sort of, so 9 for the PS2, 6 for the GameCube, 10 for the Xbox. And I did think when I was looking back at the Xbox list, how many exclusives there were to that console that never really went anywhere else. And I can see where the rise of the Xbox happened, and also where the demise of it's happened as well, because of all these things that now, stuff that's kind of like milling about in the background. So obviously we did the Master Chief Collection, and then you've got Ninja Gaiden just come back recently with a bit of a bump, and now Fable is as well. you know, you kind of look at that and go, what's the one thing that you actually could do with a bit of a rework and something come back and
fucking Steel Battalion, motherfuckers. That's what it fucking needs.
Yeah, no. It just, and I think that looking at the GameCube games, like there's some stuff that we've picked up. It's Smash Bros. Melee and Animal Crossing and stuff that just very specific Nintendo things that you think about, and you just think that no one else does it like they do, like those games there. So yeah, that was a hell of a lot of fun. 150 episodes done. I will keep coming back until Rich tells me not to come back.
I'm so tired.
I will press stop on the recording in 1 minute. I will say at this point, though, thank you very much to Kyle to come along and help us out with that. I thought some of your analysis there was absolutely brilliant. And it reminds me that very much so that there are people that play video games that have...
And not you two.
Well,
yeah, basically.
That aren't me, basically. In so much that I just kind of go, oh yeah, it was fun. That is in. Whereas you both put across some really, really great points across a lot of the games there. So thank you very much for that, and thank you very much to our listeners, to everybody that listens, and everybody has listened, and everybody that will listen. This has been episode 150 of Living La Vita Local Podcast, and we will speak to you again real soon.
Cheers.
Thank you.